to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Spurs 5. It's the Spurs 4 tonight, a different iteration. The final iteration, we haven't seen it. It's like Bergvall, Polinia, and Xavi in the midfield three. No Johnny. Johnny's come out. We got the old man back. Sava, welcome back to the show, everybody. I hope everybody is happy and healthy, doing the things they love. We got some advertising to get through and some admin. As you know, it's been an absolutely terrible weekend for Tottenham Hotspur fans, but it could get better for you if you fancy getting yourself from some football or some sporting clobber. You know what to do. Just search for OK Jersey on your Google of choice and make sure that then when you click on wherever you're going to click, make sure that when you bought whatever you're going to buy, put in the code 5 at checkout for a cheeky little 8% discount off of the best prices in town. Anyway, we appreciate them very much for the sponsorship. We'd appreciate you guys if you guys could do us some favors as well. Smash the like button. That's all we really ask. Smash the like button. The subscribe button should also be squeezed. If you are watching this and you're not subscribed and you want to participate in the chat to tell one of us or all of us why we're wrong, all you have to do is hit the sub button and then it should open up for you immediately. No waiting at all. Bonnie Blue settings. However, if it doesn't, just press the refresh the browser and it should open up then 100% of the time. Notification buttons, they should be squeezed and comments should be dropped, but keep them respectful. This is a fun, safe place, even though there will be some banter, no doubt about it. Lastly, guys, we are, of course, also available on all of your podcasting favorite platforms. If that's your jam, then please search for Spurs 5 or drop into the description and hit the link and give us a 5-star rating if you don't mind. But essentially, a follow is all we really ask for over there as well. And we've got a lot to get into tonight. We've got some comments from the ownership, or at least feeds into the Athletic around support for the manager. We've got to talk about our support for the manager. Do we support him? Who is the problem? Where is the problem? Is it a peace supply? How does it all shape and shift up? What exactly happened yesterday? And obviously, where do we go from here? We've got a week, 7 days to figure something out. And it's going to be difficult because Liverpool are up next. Stel, how you doing, my man? Good to see you. You okay?
Do you know when people ask that question, it's almost like you're forced to say, yeah, okay. Yeah. It's almost like you're forced to say that. I'm just, nah, man. I'll say it as it is. I'm pissed. I'm not happy. I can't.
You sounded like a meme then, mate. There was that Katy Perry meme from like late 2000s. She was like, I'm supposed to say that I'm okay, but I'm not okay. I'm really not.
Yeah. I just, on a human level, yeah, I'm good. On a footballing level, no, I'm not. I'm just, I've checked out, Sean. That game on the weekend, I've checked out. I can't do it again. I can't do it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
We shall. Sav, welcome back to the show, mate. How you doing? I know you've been on a monster stream this morning. You and I had our once weekly argument, and then we'll mates again straight afterwards. How's things?
What I like about our arguments is how we argue, and then you message saying, "Sav, you were 100% right. I'm really sorry," and then we just move on. No, that doesn't happen.
I realise that, oh my God, nothing of the sort happened, and actually, absolutely spot on the entire time.
I'm actually good. Yeah, I am good. Yeah, I can't believe we did a 6.5 hour stream, but I had no intention of doing that, and it was like being at work for the day. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Lovely to see you, and obviously Lubo and Stel. I haven't had a row with Stel for a few weeks, so this will be fun.
Both of them are sort of coming out. There's no problems. None of these. I think maybe within 15 minutes. What's the over under, Lubo, on 15 minutes before the first argument starts? I'm going to take under. How are you, Lubo? Good to see you, mate. You okay?
Yeah, a bit happy, a bit more. Don't know. Trying to get my head around yesterday's performance.
Yeah. It's hard, mate. Let's start. Let's start straight away there, shall we, buddy? I'll start with you, Lubo. Like, it was from the first minute until the last. I don't know, arguably for me, a worse performance than any other this season because of the other horrendous performances. I think we either were playing against superior teams, whether we didn't put a glove on, but this is Nottingham Forest, 17th place Nottingham Forest, a Sean Dyche team, a guy that Thomas Frank says he knows intimately, and they're sort of best buddies, whatever. So he said before the game, I expect, Nottingham Forest to let us to sit back and let us play at them a little bit. That didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. He got it wrong from pillar to post, and then his in-game management for me was absolutely shambolic. So I'm not going to steal the thunder here. Lubo, talk to me about your overall thoughts on where it went wrong, or anything. Go.
Went wrong. I mean, from the first minute, it was they hit the post, then Vicario made his one save of the game. It was just a shit show from there, wasn't it? I came away from there utterly demoralised with where the club is at the moment. To be honest, it's just a mess. The whole thing's a mess, and you worry. I'm sure the owners are going to put some money in for January. For Frank to buy some players, but will they spend it properly? I don't know. It's just gone downhill for me so much. Literally since we left the ground, since we left White Hart Lane. Wembley was okay. You looked at it, and when there was some iffy performances and results you didn't get, you sort of looked at it and think, well, it's in effect we're playing every game away from home. But as you always said, 2019 was raised expectations to an unrealistic level by getting to Madrid, and since then it's just been dreadful since we got back into the new grounds, and we're on a slide down, and they've got to stop this somehow. The only way to do it for me is to bring in better players, because as I said the other week, I reassessed this squad, and this squad really isn't very good overall as a squad. It's not dog shit. It's not great. It's mid-table average, and you're going to get better games. You're going to get games where you show fight and resilience, like Newcastle. You're going to get games where we go on the front foot and we played the ball around very nicely against Brentford. And you're going to get games like yesterday, which was much the same as Fulham, Bodo, Monaco, Arsenal, Chelsea, Wolves, and Bournemouth. I mean, we've had 8 horror shows this year already, with a few decent ones mixed in and a bit of average thrown in as well. Don't know. The squad's not good. I think Frank, to be honest, Frank's struggling a little bit in his role. I saw that yesterday. I saw that when he talked about 10 to 12 good games in a season and 30 that are average and the rest are not so good. Not what I want to hear from a Spurs manager. I thought the substitutions yesterday were absolutely dreadful. Yeah. I don't think, though, for me, the only question mark for the team, I thought nine players picked themselves. The other 2, it could have been Paulinho and Bergvall. He went for Bentancur and Gray. So in terms of picking the first 11, don't think there was too much change apart from those 2. Could have changed those 2. The back line and the front 4, I thought, picked themselves. And just to watch again Porro come out and apologise, you just look at it. I mean, it's one apology after another from the players. I just feel sick, to be honest, watching it. I just feel really down at the moment. I can't remember us being this. I can't remember being this low about this football club, to be honest.
What's worse though, Lubo? Before I bring the other guys in, is it a team of players that obviously, I think it's fair to say that the team, everyone knows the team needs improvements, right? But there's quality. I think we were having this debate earlier, and then there's just effort. And I don't know whether the players are not playing for Thomas Frank or whether they're just like, effort is a part of the mentality, the makeup of a profile of the player, right?
Yeah.
You talked about the fight against Newcastle United. Let's be honest. I mean, even Thomas Frank says it's a shame because 3 good games and then we let one go. But we weren't good against Newcastle. One guy with a shanked back heel got us back into the game to give us some sort of output that was respectable. But we didn't deserve anything from that game. And then the other 2 games, obviously, were a team of Brentford who didn't turn up against us that day, and obviously Slavia Prague, who are much lower level of opposition. I mean, I don't want to just sort of flip the narrative to be all negative because they were decent. Like, you can only play what's in front of you. But my question mark is, like, should we be expecting, if wherever you sit on the spectrum of how good or bad the players are, and there's obviously a mixed bag around the community on that, but just on the bare minimum, why is it that there's cup upsets? Right? It's because the weaker team, the minnow, if you like, they rally themselves to play their cup final because it's their big opportunity, and you get cup upsets. So it's not always about quality of the team. Sometimes it should just come down to, the expectation of showing up and earning your keep, and it's like that to me is like the ground zero of what you should expect. And I'm not seeing that under Thomas Frank. I saw it at times I did see it under Ange. We tried, but I just think the tactics were silly. Right at the time, the tactics were too gung-ho to survive sustainably in the Premier League, but I never really saw abject effort. Again, under Thomas Frank, I've seen, more than, I could count. It would take me more than the fingers on one hand to count the amount of times that the team haven't even bothered to turn up. What's that down to?
I think the lack of professional pride, to be honest. I don't think the players like the way that Frank plays. I don't think they like the way Frank's asked them to play. And I think it's showing. And I just think it's poor. Professionally, it's poor. How many times have you got to listen to players coming out in front of the cameras and saying, "We're really sorry. We've got to get it right. We weren't at it today." It's unacceptable. But you've seen Burnley started well. They've slipped down now. They've lost quite a few of their last few games. But all their players on the Scott Park, they fight and they give 100%. They're just down there because they're not good enough. Now, for me, you judge a player. All these players have got ability. What takes a player that extra level, to the next level, is mental toughness, and these guys don't have it. And by and large, apart from a few players, I don't think
they had it for the Europa League final.
Yeah, right? Sure. That's right. It was a European final, and everybody wants to win a cup final. So they're all there. They're all at it. You would expect a player to turn up for a cup final. You would expect a player to turn up for a match at Nottingham Forest. But these players pick and choose when they want to turn up.
What about the Super Cup final?
Yeah, they turned up for that as well. Still, they turned up for that as well. I think with that, he put on his big guns, didn't he, late on, and they just swept us away. I think it was just, but I do think for 80 minutes. That was a very good performance against a top team in Europe.
Well, I guess what I'm asking, Lubo, I guess what I'm asking more is, like, individuals can have bad games. Individuals can be in a bad mood, can have things going on in their life. But for the entire team to not lay a glove on Nottingham Forest, and for an entire team to not lay a glove in 3 different London derbies on the bounce, it begs the question whether or not they are playing for the manager. There has to be some level of consideration whether or not this manager has lost the dressing room.
Quite possibly. Something is wrong behind the scenes. There have been too many games where they just haven't turned up. There's something going on there. And the more it goes on every few weeks, you look at it and you think, there's another bad one. That was another shocker. And there's something wrong. You've had Spence and Van der Ven ignore Frank. You've had Spence again with the with the histrionics yesterday coming off. There's stuff
we'll
going
talk about
on
that
there.
separately. Yeah,
I'm sure there's stuff going on behind the scenes that that we don't know about. I don't think it's a happy camp at all.
Fair enough. Sav, I'll bring you in, mate. Similar sort of question, mate. We can talk about the specifics of the game if you like, but I mean, I guess we'll break it down into individual bits, like with Vicario and Archie Gray and stuff. We'll come to those things, but just to get us off and running, right? For me, I think the question mark, everyone's like, we can sort of shoot through a lot of that shit if you want and just get down to the nitty gritty here of the argument is, should Thomas Frank be given more time? Does he have to figure out some way of getting a tune out of these players, if just to make them look like they care as a bare minimum? And if he can't, and if he's starting, is it not fair to be asking whether he's lost the dressing room, just because there's been too many appearances now this season where the players, it's not that they're getting out outclassed in a game of feistiness. It's they're not even turning up.
Yeah, look, I mean, should he get more time? Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, we're just going around in a vicious circle, sacking managers every 4-6 months. Personally, I've just not got the energy for it. And as a YouTuber, I don't know if I've got the energy for another in-out thing. Look, yeah, he's got a lot of work to do. If I'm going to bring it back to that, he's got a hell of a lot of work to do. And I think the reason why I'm not as upset as other people is I think this squad has been getting slowly but surely worse and worse for years and years and years. And for me, again, this is only my opinion. For people, I know people go mad at me. It's only my opinion. I think the squad is painfully average. Frank hasn't worked it out yet. Whatever working it out means, he's not worked it out. I think there are many, many components missing from this football team all over the park. I think that we've got a lot of prima donnas who talk a good game. Porro talks a great game. Romero talks a great game. I don't see that fighting them. Don't see the leadership from the likes of Romero. Likes to come out and talk when we win a game. Never hear from him when we lose a game. Look, I think the whole thing's a mess. I kind of agree with Lubo on the sentiment that something's not right. And Sean, obviously we talked about this earlier. I'm of the opinion that this is not just a manager issue. That there is something deeply rooted that is bad at Tottenham. Because the same players that we're saying, the manager's lost the dressing room. These are the same players that lost 36 games in 18 months. So the last manager would have lost the dressing room as well. So yeah. I just don't know. I feel at a loss, Sean, to be honest, because I feel like I've lost all emotion in terms of being angry. It's just Spurs have drained the life out of me, and I just feel like we've been getting worse and worse and worse over the years. And for me, not for everyone, this is just me, I feel that this is a culmination of years and years and years of neglect from the owners, years and years of really poor scouting from Lang, Paratici, whoever was here before them. This is an amalgamation of players from the Poch era, the Conte era, the Jose era, the Nuno era, the Ange era. So these are a mishmash of players that have been bought for a million different managers with a million different styles. And for too long, I think they've had it too easy. There's been no accountability for me. These players keep getting, listen, Frank has got a lot of work to do. We know he has. He doesn't get off the hook. He's not figured it out. But these players seem to get off the hook. Every time we do this with a manager, the players are now getting off the hook every time. And I get it, Sean, right? I get the calls for him to go. I get it. And if he does go, he goes. We're all adults. We've seen managers leave football clubs. I think we'll just be right back in this position again in a few months with a new manager, where we realise that these are the same players that will keep letting managers down. And at some stage, we're going to have to go through a lot of pain. We're going through pain. I mean, football pain. I don't mean like real life pain, like someone's died or something. But you know, we've got to go through football pain. And at some point, I think we've got to start shipping out players in their droves. We've got to start bringing players in. Now, everyone's going to have their take on whether or not that is going to be done under Frank or whether that's going to be done under another manager. But my opinion is going to stay the same throughout the show, throughout the season. It doesn't matter if it's Thomas Frank's name above the door. It doesn't matter if it's Iriola's. I'm seeing Robbie Keane being linked today. I'm seeing, Glasner. For me, it doesn't matter which manager's name is above that door. This is going to be years, Sean. I've said that from the start. This is going to be years. This is not one summer. This has been, Lubo said it, since we moved stadium. right? Since the Champions League final, for me, we've just been getting worse and worse and worse. And the difference now, and I'll round off on this, Sean, the difference now for me that is being highlighted more than ever is now we don't have Kane or Son to get us out of any holes. And it is showing how painful the squad is now. And I know we're going to go, yeah, but we're better than Fulham or better than Forest. But I'm looking at this squad now, Sean, and I think all these other clubs that we used to be much better than, I think the gap has absolutely
It's definitely, 100% it has. Yeah, it's a very competitive league.
And
Massively competitive league.
I can only say what I don't. I'm not telling anyone else to agree with me. I'm calm about this. I said this all in the summer, you guys. I know some of you disagree with me. I don't rate this squad of footballers at all. I think we've bought really, really poorly for years and years and years. And look, results are ultimately going to determine whether Frank goes. Let's be brutally honest about this, right? It doesn't matter whether we all sit around here going in, out, in, out, in, out. The results will dictate if he goes. Yeah. All I want to know is if he does go, we talked about this earlier, Lubo, Sean, I want a plan. And I want to know what is the guy coming in? Is he going to be backed? Or are we just going to be sitting here in 6 months' time again with the same players going, oh, this manager's not good either. So, look, it's sad. It's really sad, Sean. I think we're in a really bad place. And I just don't think sacking the manager. I think I love a Luboism. I think that's the micro problem. I think there is a macro problem at this football club. And I just think if we sack him right now, we're going to be right back here in 4 to 6 months. I could be wrong. Clip this. I don't know. Whatever. YouTube. Yeah, it's sad. It's not good.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Still, there's a lot of questions I want to throw in your direction. Essentially, a lot of ways I could go with the next question, but just I think the easiest one for me, just quickly on the players thing. Obviously, I think we all agree, right? To a degree, but I know that you're someone that's been more on the players are better than, like, similar to myself, better than what we're seeing. And I would just use the example of like Pedro Porro. We all think at the moment is showing really bad form and questioning whether he's really that good, etc. He's a regular in the Spanish team, and the Spanish team are doing just fine. Right, he's regular in there. He keeps out all the rest of the Spanish players. If the answer is that he's good for Spain, he's good enough for Spain on a consistent level, and Spain play fantastic football and are successful with it, then you look at, well, how is he doing that? The answer obviously is, well, he's got a great coach and he's also got fantastic players around him that obviously he can play amongst and understand the system. You look at someone like Romero, intermittent form at Tottenham Hotspur, goes to Argentina, World Cup winner, Copa Libertadores winner. Why? Is it just him raising his game, or is he amongst amazing players, right? And maybe the last, maybe a combination of both, whatever else. And you take that same argument throughout the team. Xavi Simons plays for Holland, plays fantastically well, right? Everyone, kudos. It doesn't matter where you go. If there's an international in the team that plays really well and is ever present in a strong international team, then why is it that they play great for them but not so great for us? Maybe the argument is just, well, they're surrounded by better players throughout. On that basis, then, if all of the players that we sort of look at and question and say, well, they're not good enough because the rest of the players around the Tottenham squad aren't good enough, but yet all the majority of those players are good enough to play for their own international clubs or international teams. Are we really talking about wholesale changes in the squad that are needed, or is it just if we do go and find a number 9 that's as close to a Harry Kane replacement as we can, if we do go and get the balance by getting a top draw left winger, and if we do go and get that midfielder that is the kind of quintessential ingredient to make everything tick from defense to attack, those 3 places should be good enough to raise up, right? But the problem being that, do you give that money to Thomas Frank if you're not sure if he's the guy that you want to build the project around? That makes sense still. What's your take on it?
What's your question?
My question is, do you agree? Yeah, I know it's a bit more of an opinion than a question. My question is, do you agree, if you're someone that comes at it from the position of that the players are not as bad as some people make out they are, which I think has been your stance for the last couple of weeks or couple of months.
2 months, yeah.
Then, and I'm saying I would agree with you. Then, how do you where do you land on this idea that if the people that on the other side of it say we need wholesale changes to make our team tick, if Thomas Frank is the problem more so than the players in your mind, then do you think that we should be backing Thomas Frank with the money in January?
All right. Do you know, People in the chat, I'm getting messages still. Cook them. I'm not cooking anyone, guys. I'm burnt out. I have no cooking
12?
left.
What we're 12 years of age? Cook who? We're all
That's what
Spurs fans,
YouTube
right?
does. Well, I guess people love it. They love watching it. I'm going to reverse engineer it. You've got a short-term problem, a medium-term problem, and a long-term problem. And I'll try and go through it as quickly as I can. Short-term, manager. Medium-term, plan. Long-term, ownership. So if we start with the manager. For me, I don't think Thomas Frank is the guy to be backing and doing a 4 or 5 year project. I think if we back him and we stick with him, he'll get us back to Martin Joel levels, definitely, maybe Harry Redknapp levels, where we're getting fourth once or twice, a half decent cup run, maybe a semi-final. I think that's where he will plateau. Is that what we want as Spurs fans, or do you want more than that? So for me, that's where I think his limit will be as a manager. And the reason I say that is I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think he's a shit coach. I don't think he's necessarily out of his depth. I don't think he's the level that we want. And, you know, to be a manager for 13 years and not win anything says to me, have you really got it in you? And he's done a great job at lower levels. He's done a great job at clubs where the pressure's off and the expectation is lower. This is a different ball game. And we haven't got time and patience for an experiment with any manager, not just Frank. When we won the Europa Cup, we wanted to build on that, which means, right, let's take that and go to the next level. You've got to bring in a manager that's been there and done it and got something about them then. You've got to bring in a manager that's got at least some European pedigree, and we haven't done that. We've taken a risk. That's what we've done. Sometimes risks work, sometimes they don't. The Super Cup was a red flag for me because I can't help but feel that with 5 minutes to go, 2-0 up, no one's going to convince me otherwise. I mean, feel free to put the argument forward. No one's going to convince me otherwise. Conte and Mourinho don't see that off and win it. If they're 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, those two see that game out for me. That was the first red flag. But these things happen. The second red flag is to go up against Chelsea and Arsenal with the most negative tactics I've seen any manager at Spurs do. I can't just forget that. I can't forget how negative we were, especially Arsenal away. It was beyond belief that we didn't even want to lay a glove on them. That was the second red flag. The third red flag was yesterday. And that was, we're 2-0 down. There's 30 minutes to go. And your first substitutions are 2 defensive players when you're 2-0 down. It wasn't until 10 minutes left at 3-0 down, the manager said, right, on you go, Tell, on you go, Johnson. That should have happened at halftime, at least one of them. 3-0 down. If you're Brennan Johnson, who's the top goal scorer last year, not a good football player, but he's your top goal scorer. If you're Brennan Johnson and with 10 minutes to go, you come on. Surely you're looking at the manager and going, are you taking the piss? You're 3-0 down and now you want me to come on. Come on and do what? and this is the third red flag for me. Like I said, I don't think he's a terrible coach, an awful manager. He's not for me. And if we keep him to the end of the season, so be it. If we sack him, so be it. I've checked out. I've seen enough to know this is where I think the guy can get us. Beyond that, I do not believe Frank is that guy. So that's the short-term issue. Medium term, listen, we need a plan. There's still no plan. I said it in the summer when Savile was still part of the show. Everyone got excited that Charrington, the investment bankers, joined the board, and Vinay, the ex-Arsenal guys, joined us, and Joe Lewis's 60-year-old kids are on the board. They love Tottenham. I love a Ferrari. Doesn't mean I can race it, right? And I said, I don't give a damn about corporate reshuffles. It means nothing. You can shuffle the deck as much as you like. The football pitch is where I make my assessments. And so far, we are worse than Ange. Statistically and on the eye, this is worse than Ange. So there's no plan. The fact they've come out now, and I'm sure you'll touch on it later on, to say that they're backing him. I've read it. They're not backing him. They're saying we're going to give him more time. Come out and say, no, he's our guy for 4 years. Then I can believe in it. So I don't think there's a plan. I still think they're not sure as to whether Frank is the guy for them. And like Johnny said weeks ago, they've got that get out of jail card that they can say, but Levy appointed him. It wasn't us. So they've got that up their sleeve if they want. But I don't believe there's a plan. I don't believe we are thinking correctly about where we want to take the club and how we're going to get there. And I know what needs to happen, but again, I need more time for that. So I'll just brush over that. So I don't believe there's a plan. Long term, we ain't doing anything with ENIC, right? Forget this ENIC ownership. Tottenham away, big up Iggy, big up Mari, big up JP, big up Maz. We started the channel 5-6 years ago because there was no protest or no voice for fans that weren't happy with the board. We started the whole gravy train of bringing out ENIC out as a YouTube channel. I know we are Tottenham TV attended some protests and they allowed Brian Daigle to have a voice. But as a channel, we were relentless. And we always said, back the best managers. Why didn't we back Mourinho? Why didn't we back Conte? They were the elite managers. They were the winners, especially Conte. Why didn't we rebuild with Poch? We've spent £900 million since Poch left. What an absolute mess. He would have had 3 years with Son and Kane still in their prime and money for a rebuild. We would have been in a much better place. There's no doubt in my mind. But fans said Poch has lost the dressing room. Mourinho's a dinosaur. Conte's football's turgid. Ange's he's a kamikaze manager. But here's Frank doing worse. Give him time. Let's back him. We should have backed those managers because some of those were the right ones. Now we want to take a punt on a guy that's proven absolutely nothing. So for me, whilst ENIC are here, nothing changes. And when Tottenham away was banging that drum, protest, get these owners out, nothing's going to change with these people in charge. Now all I'm hearing from Frank's a great coach to actually it's the players' fault. Now we're going to ENIC, the owners. What's the plan? It's a mess. Tottenham away was saying this for 6 years and we warned everyone this was going to happen. I think we are now at the place that we were warning about 6 years ago under this ownership. So long-term, Sean, ENIC have got to go. Medium-term, we need a footballing plan with footballing people in charge of it. Short-term, I don't think Frank is the right guy for Tottenham going forward. If we stick with him, so be it. But I think it will just level out at about fourth and maybe a good cup run. That's my overall look. That's how I'm looking at it all right now.
Yeah, I think that the long-term thing, though, is entirely out of the fans' persuasion, right? That's the problem. The problem with the idea of protesting is that you might be able to raise some short-term momentum, get some reactions in the short term, but ultimately there's been 3 expressions of interest and they were all just flat out rejected. The owners, it's their club at the end of the day, you know, and they can do what they want, right? So if it's true that ENIC are always going to be the largest cop block on any kind of progression, then you know there's really very little you can do about that. You know, even the dropping in ticket sales is not going to affect.
This is where we disagree, Sean. This is where we disagree, though. This is where Tottenham away disagreed with a lot of fans. I fully believe, as the customers, we have the say, and we can show that by discontent in many ways. But for most fans, they're just either not there, or they're not prepared to go there, or they're like you, they don't believe we can. And I think it's just something I
just looked at history, mate. There's absolutely zero evidence of protests resulting in a chairman asking for a number lower than what they deem to be an acceptable bid.
Levy's been forced out, Sean. He's been forced out.
Yeah, but they have no. But that's just a figurehead, right? Replace one with the other.
He owns 30% of the club, so 30% of the ownership has now been moved, and they used him as a scapegoat. As fans, what we should be doing is demanding ENIC sell.
But since then, there's been 3 expressions of interest to take over the club or to invest in the club, and they've been flat rejected. Which you can't change that. None of us can change that.
I agree with you. We are the long term point of removing them is by far the hardest one. If they could implement a proper plan, a real plan with the right manager, then they don't need to go. But they've yet to show me anything close to that. Nothing.
Right, and that's where we agree, right? So, like for me, I've said this almost as long as
But that's on them, Sean, right? That's on them.
It is on them to always pivot from pillar to post in their managerial philosophy. And I've said this so long in the tooth that if you move from one philosophy to the other, that then every time you sign a new player on a new contract for 5 years, with the current reign of 10 years in Tottenham Hotspur's recent history, every player is going to receive 3 new managers. Going to work under 3 managers within their first contract, which means you're always square pegs in round holes. The problem is, until you put a philosophy in place, it doesn't have to be the ownership that changes, but a consistent philosophy of the way that you play football and the managers you're looking for, and whether that includes having data models like what Brighton and Brentford do, where when one person moves on, they've already identified who's the. We were talking about this earlier on, Sava. Like, it's one thing to look for talent. Go, you know what, this guy is a real talent right now, or this guy will be a talent in the future. Let's just get players with talent, versus looking for players that fill specific holes in your
I think you're too narrow-minded. Sorry, Sava. Let me say this bit, and then I'll let Sava and Nubo come back in, because I know they want to talk as well. I disagree. I think that's too narrow-minded. What Tottenham needs is what the RB group did. We need a Ralph Ragnick type character to come in and build a mini empire beneath our empire.
Yeah, I've said that before. You need a statesman.
Elite scouting network. Part ownerships or first dibs on sister clubs. So we're the queen bee. The bees go around, do the work, and we feed that talent into our club. He identified Jurgen Klopp. He developed Jurgen Klopp and the Gegenpress. And then Jurgen Klopp ended up progressing into Liverpool, and look what he did there. So we need an elite level performance sports person to build that structure with the resources and tools we already have, and to then identify the manager that brings it together and put him in place under his stewardship, and to reap the rewards of all that work to then go and become a successful football club. We are nowhere near that. All I hear is Lange.
Yeah, we haven't even got the statesman. We haven't even got the figurehead in the football club. Like every successful football club going back 75 years, I did a show on this. Every single successful period.
Enid can't going to do that.
Forest, Derby, Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, all of the teams that had successful periods going back to the 50s, they all had, first of all, a youth system that was supplementing their first team. They all had disproportionate access to money and resources, but the most important thing was they all had a Bill Nickerson or a Bill Shankly or a Brian Clough or insert whoever it was there. There's lots of them, even in smaller teams. Ipswich had a guy like that. Derby County had a guy like that. And so, the reality is that those things are going to, you need that, but then you also need an ownership or a chairman to take their hands off the reins of the football club, which is something Daniel Levy was never prepared to do. Maybe now that he's gone, the new owners will allow that to happen. Maybe they think that Vinay and Paratici are those people. I don't know, but in terms of things like building sister clubs, I mean, look, we were the groundbreakers on sister clubs. Enoch broke ground on the whole idea of multi-club ownership. We were the 3rd or 4th team in their model, but then they did it for profit, not to feed the main club. No, I know. I'm just saying, but they have experience in that regard. But then obviously the rules changed and they had to divest their interest in those other football clubs. And Daniel Levy was asked in the summer whether he would move into the multi-club ownership model, and he said no. So maybe that will change under Enoch. Let me bring Sava back in. Sava, look, I don't disagree with Stelios about all those things. Of course, in a grand scheme of things, love to have all those things in place. Most of the successful teams are doing. Even Liverpool are trying to buy Getafe, Burnley trying to buy Espanyol. Although I think the Getafe thing might be on ice at the moment. But loads of clubs are trying to now do what Chelsea are doing, right? But in that's obviously bigger picture stuff that takes a hell of a long time. We're nowhere near even getting the right person in place to start that. In terms of the kind of the short and the medium term, as Stel said it, right? The manager and the players. Do you think, Saba, that Thomas Frank has shown the fans enough for the fans to get on board the idea of backing him? Or should the club, I don't know, look for loan deals in the January window to kind of give him something to work with, but not commit to things just in case it doesn't work out? And then in the summer, they want to have a really big budget to be able to give to the next guy, like you said, Saba, really back a guy, give him exactly what he needs.
Let's be brutally honest. It's not the fans that he has to show stuff to get backed. We all sit here and pretend it is. It's not us. It's not us. It's the board. The board will either back him or not. If your manager is still here, you have to back him. You can't have a manager in that you don't want to back and then you just go a transfer window and you don't bring in players or just loans. Because for me, just getting in loans has shown, like with the Moani loan, it's you're bringing in players that how do you build around that long term? How do you build a long term plan when you don't know the players are going to be here for a long time? So look, if this has got to be a question, if they're going to back him, as I've said, right? the fans, we're very important for X amount of reasons, but we're not important with the money, right? If the Tottenham board are backing him, if they are saying, whether publicly or not, if they are saying to themselves, right, this is our guy, right? You got to back him. It's that simple. You can't have a guy at the club that you don't back, because then that just makes everything worse, right? So no, well, you're not getting sacked, but we don't trust you, so no, you can't have any transfers. Then you might as well sack him, right? So it's going to be down to them, right? It's going to be down to them. If they truly believe this is their guy, it's not our guy, right? As I've said before, Sean, we're all old and ugly enough that if the manager gets sacked, we wake up in the morning, we have a thumbnail, right? Who's next? What managers? A picture of Iriola, a picture of Glasner, right? That's fine. You can sack him. They've got to make that decision. Do we sack him? Or do we say, right, no, this is our guy, and we do want to make it work, and we do want to get to the point where he's got no excuse. The issue I've got is if you don't back him, and I don't think he's been backed at all so far. I really don't. I think he's had a couple of good signings and then some loans that, again, you can't build around. If you are going to back him, back him. If you are going to back him, bring in.
Would you back him though? If you were in charge right now, you would back
absolutely,
him
absolutely,
with what he wants in the summer.
Absolutely,
Oh, sorry, in January. Sorry, you'd back him with what he wants.
Absolutely. You sack him or you back him. I've nicked that from Eric E in the chat. You sack or back, right? Sounds really rude. You sack him or you back him. But you've got to, if you bring the manager in, one of the things that we don't think about as fans as well is, I know when lots of people just say sack him. If you're going to sack Thomas Frank right now, they've just paid £17 million to get him. So it was 7 million that to pay Ange, 10 million they had to pay for Frank and his staff. If you are going to sack him and his staff right now, because that's a package deal.
Was that a 3-year contract as well, wasn't it?
Pass. Think so. But if you sack him now, you've laid out the best part of 20 million. You're going to lay, I don't know, what, another 10 million to sack him? I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm just spitballing.
Probably more than that.
You've got all his coaching staff that you've got to pay out as well. And you're now going to be you're going to be nearly 30 million down the drain for 4 or 5 months of work. I don't think they're going to do that. Whether or not we want it to or not, I don't think they're going to. For a few reasons, Sean. For a few reasons. One, who are you getting? Right?
Yep.
One, who are you getting? Because your pool of managers mid-season is small. I know we all say, we chuck names out, don't we? We all go, oh, get Glasner, get. The pool of managers is small. You've got to pay good money to get them out of their club. You've then got to bring in all their coaching staff. If you sack him now, you've then ruined another window. If we sack him now, you've ruined the January transfer window, right? Because the same thing that will happen, what happened with Frank in the summer, new guy comes in, don't want that. No, I don't care that you spent 4 months, 5 months scouting for that. I don't want that. So I get it. I get that people are frustrated, but I want to see something through. I just want to see something through, Sean.
So how long is that? How long do you give him then?
I think he needs. I think he needs at least 2 summer windows. He's had one. I think he needs a January and a summer window. I think we need to get to the point where more of this team is his permanent team rather than a mismatch of loads of other managers. And we said it earlier. Emery's been allowed at Villa to bring in loads of his own players. Eddie Howe at Newcastle, right? Look, even look at Man United. Yeah, not saying they're amazing, as they've just scored. As I've said that, not saying they're amazing. But Man United have stuck with Amorim, and it's getting better, isn't it? It's getting better. The results are getting better. The form's getting better. They're chasing for top 4. So basically, Sean, I suppose what I'm getting at is you either back him or you sack him. I know everyone thinks I'm... Hang on, Sean, just quickly. I know everyone thinks I'm dying on a hill for Frank. I'm not. If I wake up tomorrow and he's sacked, I'm cool with that. But I keep asking, I don't get an answer from anyone really. What's the solution that will give everyone that immediate hit that they need? Because a lot of the solutions I'm seeing, 1, aren't realistic. 2, if you're going to bring them in, you're going to have to completely revamp the squad anyway, i.e., I used this example with you earlier, Sean. If you bring in Xavi, right? If you bring in Xavi Hernandez, he's going to turn up and go, yeah, I can't play my football with these players. Yeah, I cannot play my football. Right, I need 3 new midfielders. I need new wingers. Right, so somebody is going to get backed. I don't know if it's going to be Frank, but if he is in the hot seat in January, you've got to back him. I don't know why people are telling me to shut up in the chat. I don't think I've said anything crazy. I don't think I've said anything crazy there. I just think back him or sack him. It can't be a halfway house, Sean. It can't be.
No, I hear you. Lou, but let me ask you this, mate. Do you think? Look, obviously we won the Europa League, right? With under Ange, and this. I'm not trying to make this about Ange at all, but just as a comparison, he did get 2 years. But as you pointed out earlier on, when you break that 2 years down into 4 quarters, they got progressively worse in the best barometer of where you are as a football club, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, go on.
Yeah. No. Listen, I think like anything, nothing lasts forever. Your grace period, your probation period, nothing lasts forever, right? So the reason why I didn't want Ange was, as we pointed out, quarter on quarter, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yes, but my question was it right to back him? Was it right to stick with him as we saw it going down, or should we have nipped that in the bud earlier than we did?
I think when you're mid-season, that if the guy is your manager, you've got to give them money. I don't think you can just sit there and go, "You're my manager, but we're not going to give you money." But if we see this getting worse and worse and worse when he gets his own players in, like, I don't mean 2 permanent signings, Sean. Some people are going, he's being backed. I mean, he's had two permanent signings. That's not backing a manager. Backing a manager is what Newcastle have done with Howe and Emery with Villa and yada yada yada. You've got to back him, right? That's going to be down to them. And if not, we start this crazy game again. We start this carousel again. But we need to be really careful what we ask for, Sean, because when you speak to the fan base, and you said you know we had this chat earlier that we, as a fan base, we all go, this isn't the right guy. Who is the right guy? And when you ask everyone, everyone's got a different idea of who that right guy is. So what happens is the new guy comes in, Sean, has immediately got some of the fan base going, nah, another wrong appointment, and they don't back him from the start.
The right guy.
We can play that game.
Still, just before you bring you in, I've got to bring Lubo in because he's been waiting patiently, and we'll come back around. Lubo, I want to ask you the same sort of question, right? You made that point earlier about the 4 quarters. Do you think? I think everybody right now is sitting in this flux of like, I don't know what to do. I think everybody seems like they don't particularly back Thomas Frank, but they feel like there's not another option that's really viable for the financial side of it, for the fact that it sets a bad precedent. Are you always of the opinion, Lubo, that kind of you have to give people enough time? Like, was it right to sack Nuno after 2 months, 3 months? Was it right? Was it right to keep hold of Ange for 2 years? You know, like
Nuno was sacked because all of a sudden Conte came back on the scene, didn't he, with Paratici? And they took a view. We've got Conte now. With Jesterson, Nuno. So that was, and he started off with 3 wins. We were top of the table with 3 1-0 wins. Then we had 3-0 defeats. I remember going to the Palace, watching him with a midfield of Winks, Skip and Højbjerg, thinking there's just nothing creative here. The football was dreadful. It was dreadful. He only lasted 10 games. Is it too soon to get rid of a manager? Well, the fans turned on Levy in the 10th game against Man United, and Levy did what Levy always does and deflect the boos away from him, and he got rid of Nuno and coincidentally, you know, here we are. I've given you Conte. You've got to firstly, if these owners don't come in and back Frank and do it properly and show ambition, then they may as well leave. They may as well sell the club. There is, you know, it doesn't matter what manager we get in, if the owners aren't going to back them. And I fully agree with Stel earlier. Well, they should have backed Jose. They should have backed Conte. They had 2 out-and-out winners. You know, if you're going to say, well, Frank's won nothing, and before I mean, Poch I thought was brilliant. I'd love to see him come back. Poch won nothing. Harry Redknapp won nothing. But if you're going to use that as your barometer, then Jose and Conte are the 2 that you should have backed.
Well, Ange also has won a lot as well, right? And we did back him.
Well, did we back him? We did and we didn't, Sean. We did and we didn't.
400 million quid on him.
We spent, that's right. We spent just under 400 million.
Come on now.
but Sean, we didn't buy the right players. We had a wage cap in place that prohibited Spurs going after certain players. Did we back him? We spent plenty of money. We wasted plenty of money, but we spent 380 million on 18 players. So we're averaging 21 million a player. Hang on, we're averaging 21 million a player. But did we go and say, right, we're going to spend the big money on the game changers? No, we didn't.
We had to go through a squad rebuild. We had to get rid of so much dross from the Conte and the Mourinho era.
But we didn't actually.
Multiple things were happening at the same time as the Ange system. That's why I said, and I believe I was right about this. Not right about many things, but I think I was right about this. That whoever the guy after Conte was going to be, he was the guy before the guy, or at least he wasn't going to be the guy, right? Whether this guy's the guy or the guy after that, whatever. But in terms of like Conte was moving out at the same time as the club was going through a huge transition of dross. And they were pivoting to this youth-centric approach, of which, by the way, we're not the only ones that are doing it. More and more clubs are doing it. Even Aston Villa, who everyone looks at right now and thinks they're sensational, and they are a team that has brought in a new director of football in order to move into that youth-centric model as well. So that's just a trend that we got on board early with, not as early as some, but pretty early. And so that's why Ange was always going to, and maybe the fact is that those players haven't developed as fast. Sometimes, 2 years is not a long time in football, right? So, but like all of those things were happening at the same time. So and also just quickly, like the owners, Lubo, are not the guys that pick the players. They might say, I'm not paying 250 for him or whatever, right? I'm not paying 250 grand a week. Well, they might cop block certain scenarios, but they don't identify the players, do they? And every single director of football that we've employed has been a qualified director of football. It's not like they're just people off the street, like one of us lot. No, they're all people with great CVs and resumes, etc.
No, but there are levels, Sean. And when you get Levy brought in Munn brought in Lang and Ange, ultimately the decision started with Levy, and Levy brought the wrong people in. In terms of what Ange brought in, after the first transfer window, Sean, he had 4. The only first-team player he brought in was Solanke in 3 windows. The rest were all squad players and kids. So was he backed? No, he probably wasn't. To be fair, not in the right way. We spent more money with Ange than we have done with any other manager.
Lubo, sorry. When I said Ange wasn't backed, I got called out for saying he was backed. When I said there's no way in hell Ange, out of all the left wingers in the world, said sign Werner, I got told, hold on, they're his signings. When I said there's no way he wanted Tell, Gray, Bergvall, these players, you lot all called me out for this. Now you're saying he wasn't back. So which one is it?
No, but
have you thought about it more? Now you're thinking.
No. But if you're talking, are you talking about backing?
Also, you're wrong about the Solanke.
I'm talking about what you're talking about. I'm talking about what you're talking about.
Didn't we also sign Vicario? Didn't we also sign Maddison?
That was the first window of the 4.
Right? Doesn't that count?
No, but I'm just saying that after that, Sean, the team needs evolving. All the other clubs are strengthening, and in 3 windows, we only brought in 1 player who went straight into the first team, and that was Solanke. And we needed more. You can see we needed more because look at the state of the squad now.
But 2 of those windows, you're taking out. It's not like it's 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, because the 2 January windows, which make up 2/3 of the 3 that you're picking on now, are January windows where you have 31 days and it's an absolute nightmare to do business, which is why, again, this January for me is going to massively fucking piss off the fan base because they treat both windows like they're the same, and they're entirely not. Like January is a fucking disaster to do business because there's always a Mexican standoff. There's always now they've got that 8th game in the Champions League, and very few teams are settled in there knowing if they're going to qualify or otherwise until the 28th. So you get it's just going to be like this January window. People think that there's going to be 4 players coming in or something stupid. It's just it's bonkers. It's absolute bonkers. Unless
no manager
a lifetime, but
no manager has ever been properly backed at this club. None. Pochettino said we need a painful rebuild. We sacked him. Mourinho wanted Skriniar. We gave him Rodon. In January, when we had injuries to strikers, he said to the club, get me Giroud. Go get me a proven striker. Go and get me Giroud. We signed Bergvall. Then you had Conte, who asked for Bastoni so he can play a back 3 with a solid Italian defender that he knew. What did we do? We gave him Longley.
couldn't get Bastoni.
He wanted Longley. 1 minute. He wanted then we gave him Longley. He then wanted Lautaro Martinez as another option up front. Who did we give him? We went and got him Dan Juma.
Yeah.
We went and 1 minute, Sean. We went and got him Dan Juma.
Still.
Let me finish. Let me finish. No, because I really don't want to hear this. Because hold on. Let me finish. Conte then wanted Lautaro Martinez as another option up front. We gave him Dan Juma. Ange came to this club and said, I want to win a trophy. You need a trophy. He won it. We sacked him. Then in the summer, Frank comes in. We got him the third choice number 10 or the fifth choice number 10. So for me, there is no way anyone can tell me that our managers have been properly backed. I will never sign up to that. No manager.
So what you're saying is, right, I want a Ferrari. The bank manager says I can only buy a Fiat. Blame the bank manager. Like, it's ridiculous. Conte might have.
No, you don't go. You don't. No. You don't. No.
Sure. Let me finish. I just let you finish. Let me finish. Let me have a sentence here.
Okay. Yeah.
You're saying you wanted Bastoni. He was never going to come. He didn't want to leave. He did not want to leave Italy. Lautaro Martinez has never left Italy. He's never going to come. Like, all of these players that Conte wanted. Conte wants, so Conte gets. It's a load of bollocks, mate. Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
There's expectations of reality.
But listen to what you're saying now. So he wanted Bastoni, never got him. So let's say Bastoni is a 10 out of 10. Do we go to the 9 out of 10? The 8 out of 10? No. We go down to 4 out of 10 and get Longley. We want
on a loan deal.
Conte wanted
we couldn't get the player.
My point, Sean. My point is, if you can't get the manager there,
we ended up getting Mickey Van der Ven when we could.
You don't. 1 minute. Not when Conte was here. We didn't. You don't then go and get significantly lower down the pecking order. Giroud is a proven striker that has done the rounds. That's why Mourinho wanted him. Fine. For whatever reason, we didn't get him. You go and take a punt on Bergwijn. This is what I'm saying to you. It's not like we give the managers a similar alternative or one level below. We go almost to that gambling, let's just take a punt approach. Of course it's not working, and that is not backing the manager. It's not.
Can I come in here? I think I agree with Stel and disagree with him all at the same time. I think the point he's making, right, is I think I've said this all along. It was ridiculous. If any Spurs fan thought Bastoni was leaving Inter Milan to come to Tottenham, it just wasn't. It wasn't. Everyone at the time was saying, but it'll play for Conte. And it's like, well, hang on, he's playing for Inter Milan, who win titles, and he's playing with world-class players, Champions Leagues. Like, I think like he's going to stay there. But I think what's still saying is we go from right. We want this. Sod every gap in the middle. We're going to go down there, and. For me, I think we tried to address that this summer. I don't know how much of it was for show. I don't know how close we were to Morgan Rogers or Savio or Eze. But for me, I think the worrying thing is whichever manager we're talking about, it would be bored if it's just a Thomas Frank out conversation. Whichever manager we're talking about, we really scout badly. We have scouted so badly and poorly for many, many years, but it also comes back down to what's the identity we're scouting for. So, for example, this is where I did feel sorry for Ange Postecoglou, is Ange Postecoglou, the 2 centre-halves he got in the 2 Januaries were Dragusin and Danso. Now, I don't feel sorry for him because they're bad defenders, but they're completely not what would fit the way Ange Postecoglou plays football. So you have to ask yourself, well, hang on, who made that decision then? Who went, right, this is what we need? And then we don't know whether or not Ange just said, yeah, I'll take him, or no, I don't want him. And they said, well, hang on, that's who we're buying. There just doesn't feel, there hasn't felt for me, and I think Stella and I are on the same page of this. No, we don't agree on a lot, but there hasn't felt like a plan for decades as to, are we buying for a plan? Are we buying for a plan? So we talked about this earlier, right? Brighton, for example. Brighton knew Caicedo was going to go, already had Belieber lined up, right? Already had Belieber lined up. I'm not saying he's as good, but they have a certain
profile.
Time.
They know what they want.
Exactly. They know what they want. At Spurs at the moment, I feel like we buy players, and this is where I think some fans, for me, we go, oh, that's a really good signing. And it's like, maybe it's a good signing, but Does it fit what a manager wants? Does it
Specificity, yeah.
what we've got? So look, I think all of that's got to get sorted out. And again, I'll caveat again, I don't care who the manager is. You've got to get that plan. And if we don't get that plan, Stell is right. And you, Stell, about a year ago, you said something, right? And I didn't agree at the time. And I'm going to say I agree with you now, right? You said a year ago, you probably remember this. You said, if the owners keep buying this poorly, then it doesn't matter who's in charge of the club, the manager, right? And at the time I went, no, of course it matters. You've got to have a manager. I've come round to that way of thinking. If this board aren't going to buy proper players, not 18-year-olds, not 19-year-olds, not this guy's going to be great in 3 years. If we don't buy proper players, it genuinely doesn't matter to me moving forward now who the manager is, because we're asking everybody to perform miracles. And all I want is a sensible plan. That's why I know I talk about Villa a lot and you all mock me, right? But Villa have not done anything sensational with their transfers. They've just bought sensibly for the last 3 years with Emery. They've bought sensibly. Players that we could get. That's all I want. Buy sensibly.
I also think Aston Villa have got a better manager than us. I think Emery is much better than Thomas Frank.
Oh, of course. You know? Of course.
Yeah, I think that. Look, Sean, I want to know what you think about the manager situation, which is the short-term solution. Because even if we change manager, we've still got the medium and long-term problems. Because for me, you asked the question to Danny, who is adamant that the players are to blame for everything. Global warming, the price of cheese going up. It's the Spurs players that are to blame, right? Shout out to Danny Kay. But he's a lunatic at the moment when it comes to he's gone mad. But you asked a question on your show the other day, and Danny agreed. He said, if you could get Unai Emery tomorrow, would you do it? And he said, yeah, probably. So that said, well, then it's not just the players. So where are you with it? Because that was a good question you asked, actually.
Yeah, look, I personally think that Thomas Frank isn't the guy. I don't think he's the guy. He's not he doesn't inspire me. I think if you import Brentford, you get Brentford. And I think that for me, I think he is still on Brentford settings. I think he's struggling with the pressure of the job. You know, you look at like Iriola, right, at Bournemouth, a perfect example. Iriola, when he's doing well, everyone starts to go, look at Iriola, look what he's doing at Bournemouth. It's amazing. They're probably going to lose, 9 of their last 10 games or something stupid?
Yeah, it's something bad.
No one's talking about Iriola, right? No one's talking about their fall off. Because why? It's because they're still a kind of lesser club that is, people will respect them and give them credit when they go on a good run of form. But if they go on a bad run of form, it's relatively unnoticed. It's exactly the same with Thomas Frank. There's a Brentford guy I walked the dog with, and he said to me, when I signed him, I said, "What do you think?" I said, he goes, "I don't think he's the right guy for you." I said, "Why?" On footballing stuff. He's like, "No, he's just not consistent enough. He doesn't take losses to heart, and he doesn't learn from his mistakes." And by the way, I saw a statistic that was pumped around on WhatsApp earlier that it was from a tweet from 2022. Brentford had conceded 16 goals or something, or 15 goals at this stage of the season from outside the box, from the D, right? And those sorts of things where you don't make any improvements, you don't learn, those sorts of things. I said it from the PSG Super Cup. I said that will be templatable. That's how we're going to concede so many goals this season. And it's happened time and time and time again. He doesn't do anything to fix it. I think he's used to a world where you win a couple, you lose one. You lose a couple, you win one. And it's all right, never mind. There's no pressure really. There's no stress because no one's really paying attention to Brentford. At Tottenham, people are paying attention. And I don't think he's handling the pressure and the stress of that kind of the fishbowl. Similar to why Manchester United managers generally fail so quickly at United, is because it's a bigger, more amplified version. It's Tottenham on steroids. Very similar clubs in the way that their kind of recent past and trajectories go. And you know, to another degree, I think that like Manchester United fans still have expectations that were set because of Alex Ferguson's settings, and I think it's just on a smaller, more kind of narrower lens. I think it's exactly the same at Tottenham Hotspur. So, do I think that you should sack? Do I think that Thomas Frank is the guy? Absolutely not. Would I lose sleep if he was sacked tomorrow? Absolutely not. I don't care. I don't think he's good enough. He doesn't motivate me. I think his press conferences are He talks at the post-match press conferences. He's talking more about the fans than he is the performances. He seems to dismiss the bad ones, and he seems to like try to remind people that we had better performances than we did. I don't think he seems like he's ambitious in terms of his demands for excellence. And I think, to be honest, I think the players are starting to take the piss out of him. I think they see a weak guy there. I think the way that Jed Spence, we're going to talk about Jed Spence in the second half of the show, I think that that's sort of the temerity of that guy. I think his personality is peaking up again above the parapet. Like we had rumors about this guy being a bit of a donut, and I think that he's acting up because I don't think he fears any kind of reprimand. He wouldn't do that. He would never behave that way. None of the players would behave that way, the way that they have in recent games, walking off pitches, ignoring the manager's instructions, all of that shit. None of them would behave that way if they had a manager that had some stones about him and that carried some fear of consequence. And I don't think that Thomas Frank does. So I don't rate Thomas Frank. I was never particularly on board him, but I certainly wasn't Frank. I was like never Frank. I was none of those sorts of guys. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, bring it in. I thought it was a sideways step. I still very much do. Do I rate him? No. The problem for me is I share all of Sava's concerns around where do you go from here and what does the precedent look like if you sack a guy who said that he wanted his guy, his left winger, which was Savio. He didn't get him, and he said, if I can't get what I want, I'd rather wait. If you then sack a guy, which is essentially a punishment for deciding to wait and work with what you have rather than settling for something that's second best before you even get the chance to get to the next window, I think that sets a horrendous precedent for the next manager. And I don't know where you go. And I think also the amount of cost and compensation and stuff that's going to chew into budget. And I also think it will completely cripple any chance of us attracting anybody in January.
Can I throw a curveball there?
One second. For what it's worth, I do think that January is going to be a fucking disappointing window on so many levels because it's difficult enough anyway. But why the fuck would anyone want to join us right now?
Does that mean you're not going to be doing a transfer video every day telling us that we're buying
every day, twice a day?
Yeah. So every video now we just go, no, Sean doesn't believe this. He doesn't believe with it.
Can I throw a curveball? What you just said.
If we finish 8th at the end of this season, like Arteta did at the end of his first season, are the fans going to throw a wobbly?
No.
You don't think so? I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the key thing is, I've said it all along, I was saying this to you earlier, so without the backing of the board, no manager is ever going to succeed.
Can I throw a curveball here?
Some managers won't succeed with the backing, by the way.
I'm just going by things that fans said. When I suggested we should keep Ange because he's proven that he can win a trophy at a club where every manager has struggled to do that, maybe he's got something about him with the players possibly now on board because they've done that. They've gone for that experience together. Give him the start of next season and let's see if he can prove himself. The pushback to that argument was, but what if it doesn't work and we've wasted a transfer window and 2 months of Ange and then we can't attract a good manager? That was the pushback. Well, look at the alternative, what it currently looks like. So I'm going to use that same logic and say, well, we didn't go with Ange, fair enough. It actually looks worse, or maybe on a par. Do we trust backing this guy now? And it doesn't work for him. And then we've got the next guy that comes in that's in even more deep shit. So, and by the way, I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just putting it out there. I actually don't know the answer to that question.
I don't think anyone knows the answer to the question. I think that's the point. I think everybody is. Oh wow, Bournemouth are leading. I think everybody acknowledges that we're caught between a rock and a hard place.
You say Bournemouth are leading
3-2.
They're 3-2 up now. Yeah.
I'm cussing Iriola, and before we calling out Semedo for not scoring.
Yeah, I know. Always away. Yeah. Literally, guys in the chat, backstream, I was like, Semenyo hasn't scored in like 15 games or something, and he scores a fucking belter. But yeah, listen,
What did we say though, Sean? So just quickly off the back of Stell's point there. Look, I again, like we talk about if it's Ange, if it's Frank, whoever the manager is has got to be backed. Whoever the manager is. Like I know we spend. I know YouTubers, we spend time point scoring and people in the chat want to remember every little thing you've said because we can't remember every little thing they've said, but we're on camera. But the bigger picture is Tottenham Hotspur, right? The bigger picture is Tottenham. We all want Tottenham to do well. And we're only going to get better as a club. It doesn't matter. Insert name of manager. We're only going to get better if we buy properly and consistently. And we have had so many strange windows for the last, I want to say 2 decades. Like, do you know what I mean? We just had so many windows where you go, oh, that's what you've been planning for 6 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think they've got to plan that. And as I've said, if they want to sack Frank, fine. But there's got to be a plan, Sean. Like people going, there doesn't have to be a plan. There has to be a plan. We can't.
There has to be a plan.
We can't sack him and then just go like we pluck names out of the ether, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We don't know. People go, oh, just get him. Well, hang on. How do we know he wants to be here? How do we know as well, by the way, just playing devil's advocate, how do we know, by the way, that you look at someone might look in and say, someone might look in, by the way, Bridesy in the chat, dude, you've gone for me all show, man. Listen, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm chilled. Just give me a breather. I'm doing these guys a favor.
Guys, Savage stepped in for Johnny.
Can you just do me a favor, right? Jesus Christ. So I've lost my train of thought there. Look, so for me, you can sack the manager, but maybe what effect will that have on other managers looking in at us for the job, and also players that maybe we've been talking to, right? Like right now, Paratici and Lang will be, and the scouts will be talking to multiple agents and will have been for the last 3 or 4 months, talking to multiple agents about players, selling them what's happening at the club, what the plan is, what we're going to do. If they wake up tomorrow and they go, right, Thomas Frank's been sacked, some players will go, hang on, what? You've been talking to me for months about, I'm going to be this guy for Thomas Frank. I'm going to be this.
Yeah, 100%.
Other managers might look in, not saying everyone's the same, we're all different personalities. Other managers might look in and go, do I want the Spurs job? They've just
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
16 league games.
That's the problem. If you sack him now, not only is it impossible.
I just think,
if you sack him now, 100%, not only does it make a horrendous precedent, it is also entirely unlikely that you're going to be able to, like it. It's just the club looks like it's in disarray, and the next cab off the rank, unless a manager sits there and goes, you know what, yeah, I'll join up for 3 years because I'll probably get paid off in 6 months, and then you got like a reverse motivation thing there. But then, do you really want someone joining the football club on those sorts of premises? I don't think it looks stable, and that's why I genuinely do think that.
That's an interesting pose.
But like,
sorry.
How many managers will come here? Like, I know we're talking about now, like, okay, let's just hypothetically, Thomas Frank sacked. It's the 15th of December. Hypothetically, how many top managers right now are going to look at Spurs and go, that's a really good job? Maybe, guys, the plan was for Frank to come in for a couple of years, stabilize, and leave it in a position where somebody else can pick up. I'm just spitballing. I don't know. But right now, if you're a top manager, we talked about like the Joses and the Contes. Is anyone looking at Spurs right now going, I want to go there, I can win immediately? Or are they looking and going, that's a massive fucking job, and I'm going to need window upon window upon window of new footballers?
If you're looking for a top manager, then it's absolutely key that I think we keep Frank at the moment. They do their very best and to show ambition in January. I know it's difficult. There could be some decent loans knocking around because players want to play in the World Cup and they're not getting first team football. If the owners in the next year show that ambition and show that they will back a manager properly, then you've got more chance of getting managers, if any come along that are available on the Jose Conte level. Then if they see that the new owners are prepared, and put their money where their mouth is, then they'll look at that and think, do you know what? They did it for him. I'm sure they'll do it for me. So you got half a chance. The second thing, which is key, is the recruitment. It's funny. I'm on a Twitter group with Connor, and he sent a very good post this morning, just talking about we were just talking about midfield where Spurs got buried yesterday. And he said, look at the players over the last couple of years that have been bought. And you look at the 3 that Arsenal bought, Marino, Zubamendi, Rice. You look at Cherky. You look at Reinders. You look at Gonzalez at Man City. You look at the players at Chelsea. That they're just 3 clubs, and they've gone out. And apart from Rice, I don't think that apart from Rice and the 2 Chelsea boys, they haven't paid massive money. You've got Lavia as well at Chelsea. There are plenty that have been bought. Lavia came from Southampton. You know, they're not all big clubs. I saw a comment on here. If you buy players from Burnley and Leeds, then they're going to be shit. Well, Rice came from West Ham, who are in the lower reaches. Lavia came from Southampton, who are in the lower reaches of the Premier League. There are some gems to be bought if the recruitment is right. So again, and that's why Perisic's got a massive job on here, and he's got to really come through, and he's got to come through, and he's got to set up a network that isn't just about players coming in from Italy, because you look at who he brought last time, most of them came from Italy. You know, we've got to be looking at South America as well. You know,
Lubo, would it be fair to say though as well that what Paratici needs to do as well? I think as fans, if you notice, we only ever concentrate on what's coming in. I think we've notoriously been dreadful at selling players this last 4 or 5 years. Paratici and Lang have got to find a way that if we're going to get Deadwood out, they need to find a way, and Spurs are going to have to take a hit. Richie, Johnson, Solanke, these people, we're going to have to take a hit on these players. No one's going to give you 50 million for Brennan Johnson.
Well, you know, so they took a hit on Ndombele, didn't they? And that was a massive hit. So, you know, hopefully they...
No one wanted to buy him.
No, right. But, no.
Do you know, Thomas Frank, I'll give one thing I'll give him a pass on, and he's been done the dirty, really, at Spurs. He benefited from a very, very well-run, structured Brentford scouting system. The way they operate, the way Brighton operate these clubs, Spurs aren't like that. We should be much better, but we're not. And Frank got the benefits of being at a club that operates like that. I don't know how much input he had in that system, or whether he helped build it. I don't know. But at Spurs, he's come to a club where we are nowhere near that kind of an operation. We're just scattergun approach. We just
he said that in the summer, didn't he? He said that in the summer still.
He did mention it, yeah. I back Frank on that because he did say,
yeah. I mean, I keep hearing it.
Do you not think, guys?
He's actually said no in the summer. He's actually said, no, they bought players to me. I don't want them. Yeah. So, on that front, you kind of have to back him in January and the summer and go, right, okay.
Not back him before January, at least, because otherwise
you're punishing him before January
for not giving him a chance.
The optics are horrible. If we sack him before January, the optics are absolutely horrible. But
as a club, we're looking at these performances, and surely everybody can see this squad's not good enough. The first team is incomplete. If we don't go out and buy the right players for the club, and these are right players that just say for argument's sake, I'm just using him as just one example, a Pochettino, if he came in next summer, you bought good players that he can use, because good players are good players. And, you know, Pochettino comes in, Kudus, Kudus is going to be, he'll look at Kudus and say, great, I can play with him. You know, so we've got to go out.
Paulinho and Simmons and Van der Ven and Romero. And
like Lubo, if Man U sack Amorim, Lubo, right? Just for example, no manager's going to go, oh, actually, I don't want Cunha and Mbeumo. Do you know what I mean? No one's going to go, oh, what? I've got Cunha and Mbeumo. You're going to go, yeah, that's a good start. I like that. So I think
there's certain players in the Tottenham fan, but there's players in the Tottenham squad that there will be that same conversation though. Guys, let's do some super chats quickly. Big up to you. Please do. I haven't asked at all, guys, today. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. There's nearly 1,100 people here. Please do smash the like button. It takes nothing to do it. Just drum the thumb. It's free and it helps the channel out. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and all that jazz. Please go over to Football Heritage TV, the Spurs Corner, Lubo_61, is it? Or 69?
It is, yeah.
61 on Twitter. And Spurs Talk Show, and of course the channel that can't be named, Football Inc. And I'll put all those links in the chat as we go through. Adam Score Draw Lock, big up to you, my man. He started the Super Sticker train, and with the Super Sticker train commencing, you get the choo choo. Big up to you, my man. Big up to you, Adam. Thank you very much indeed. Always supporting everybody, man. Appreciate you very much indeed. Super early birds as well. Big up to you, buddy. Thank you very much indeed for the super sticker. Choo choo to you. Choo choo to you. He's also come back in super early birds with a £10 super chat. Very generous. Thank you very much. He said, forget Poch. No way will the Yanks let him go until after the World Cup. And then how much time will he have? Can't see which manager or players will come to Spurs if Frank goes. And he's a member of Hull Spurs. Interesting. Big up to you, my man. Big up to you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Can I
I
just
think
make a point on that, Sean. Just really quickly, just to back this up. You know what? We said earlier about Nuno was sacked really quickly because Conte became available in the market.
Yeah.
I think that would be the same as Poch. If Poch was sacked next week, for example, right? I think then suddenly you'd see Spurs suddenly go, right, you got 2 games to save your job, Frank, because they know they've got something in the background. So I just thought that was worth noting, but you're right.
I think Nuno got sacked because we were losing 3-0 every single week. We fell apart as a club. We were awful. He had a good start, didn't he? Got manager of the month after 3 games, and then the wheels came off.
Yeah.
We lost 5 of 7 with Nuno.
He lost the El Sakiko derby, didn't he, against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? We lost 3-0 in the El Sakiko.
Oh yeah.
There might be an El Sakiko this weekend as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. Marios, big up to you, Mario. Thank you very much for that super chat, by the way. Super early birds, Hull Spurs. Marios, big up to you. He says, "Got to sack managers till you get it right."
I mean, if tell me you don't understand football without telling me you don't understand. I mean, what a sentiment that is.
Yeah.
What a sentiment.
I actually don't fully disagree with that, Marios.
Oh,
I
think simple logic. It's kind of simple logic. It's expensive.
You've got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan that goes along with sacking the manager. Still, what you can't do is you can't go right. Sack this manager. The next manager gets 4 months. Sack him. The next manager gets 4. Like, you've got to have a plan. The thing is, right?
No, you're right. But the thing is, at Spurs, you don't know what the managers. Things happen to people here. They come here and things change in their world. That's who would have thought Poch would have been that good? Who would have thought, that Mourinho was going to get
if you
sacked
buy Southampton, you get Southampton. Apparently, according to Sean's logic.
Southampton did finish 7th and qualified for Europe the year we took it. They were actually pretty good. They were.
No one thought he'd do that. No one thought he would build what he built. Right?
Yeah,
no one thought he would.
You import Brentford, you definitely get Brentford. That's been the tale of the tape so far. Big up to you, Marios. Quite a funny super chat. That I quite like that. It's quite enjoyable. Shay Bryant, big up to you. He says, big up Barry McGuigan, bottom left, ready for damage. You do look a bit like Barry McGuigan, don't you, mate?
He does, yeah. He does.
Yeah. Big up to you, Shay. Thank you very much indeed. Ashley from the lane. Big up to you, Ashley. He says, thank you for some nice super chat as well. Thank you very much. He says, as a fan of 35 years, a season ticket holder for 15 of those years, this is the first time I have turned a game off following that second goal. As average as we were in the 90s, at least we had heart. And Klinsmann and co. It's interesting because I think we are only averaging something like 1.9 shots on target per game or something like that. And so if you do go down 2-0, then at the moment it does look like you are guaranteed to. It's over. Yeah, and that's only shots on target. That's shots on target. Big up to you, mate. Thank you very much. Yeah, listen, I remember the 90s fondly as well when I was a kid growing up, mate. And I think Jurgen Klinsmann was my debut year. And that was so much fun seeing him. So much fun. It'd be great to get someone like that in January, but I think the game, the world has moved now. I just don't think those sorts of things happen quite as often. Could you imagine, like, I don't know, Rodrigo rocking up at Crystal Palace?
Players like Klinsmann don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
No.
That kind of striker.
Yeah. Big up to you, though. Thank you very much, Ashley. Goocology, what a name. Big up to you. And he's got the guy, the aliens guy in his icon as well. Here's a contribution to the January transfer budget. Thank you very much, my man. Thank you very much indeed. Very cool of you, buddy. Listen, be nice to see if it goes somewhere special, but I'm just not sure, to be honest. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing my daily transfer news using clues though. JB Macaulay, big up to you from Australia. He says Frank is not the man, but to be honest, no one decent will come. I think that's where I think a lot of people feel that way. That's where I'm at. I don't think he's the man, but I don't know if we're going to do any better right now.
I just want a plan. I just want a well thought out plan. He can go.
Yeah. Tottenham Trev, big up to you, Tottenham. He says, what are we expecting? We don't pay big wages. We don't go anywhere near replacing what we lose. We don't generate money from transfers. Our managers are on a loss before a ball is kicked. I support Spurs, the football team. First of all, thank you very much for the very generous super chat, Tottenham Trev. Very nice to you, mate. Very, very cool. Yeah, look, I mean, look, we hope that we're starting to break that sort of wage structure thing. I think we saw a couple of the players come in that are probably earning now slightly more than what Sonny was earning and slightly more than what Kane was earning. But yeah, we haven't really broken it to a huge extent. But do you think that? Do you guys think that Xavi Simons is worthy of top earner status?
He's up there with Romero, isn't he? I'm sure I've seen Romero's on 205 and Simmons is on 195.
Something like that, yeah.
So they've started spending more money. I think Kudus is on 160. Pelini is on 6 figures as well. So listen, it's really important that
if we're paying 100% of Mawani's wages, he must be earning quite a lot.
Yeah, and it's really important that these kids are ENIC Mark 2, and it is different to ENIC Mark 1. Otherwise, we might as well just close it up. What was the point of spending 1.2 billion on that ground if you're not going to go and compete? Pointless.
Do you know Simmons, Mawani, and Kudus all pissed me off yesterday? Was it yesterday, Saturday? Massively. Do you know they all took it in turns to break down the middle of the pitch? They've got runners, and you're saying, please pass it, and they all over dribbled it. They took it in turns. I just thought, is one of you just going to make a through ball or just lay off someone to take a shot? One of them does it. You think, all right, you're greedy. All 3 of them doing it. I just thought, what's the point of this?
I genuinely felt to me like they all wanted to point like that, like they don't trust each other or they don't understand what each other are going to do. Like that's the whole thing. When you're doing this kind of man-to-man press, let's just get slightly inverted and kind of go a little bit. You know, I've explained my interpretation of it before, and I think that what that leads to is confusion a lot of the time. I think that happened with Ange as well. I wanted to ask you guys specifically though about this Jed Spence issue. So apparently he's been reprimanded again for some incident. I don't know. We don't know what happened. It's not been caught on TV, but apparently he threw his shirt down, and then when he sat down, he was just effing and blinding and staring at Thomas Frank. Really doesn't look good. Is it just frustration? But this is the second time in about a month, or maybe 5-6 weeks, whatever, that something's happened with this guy after walking off the pitch again. It wasn't even a month ago, was it, against Chelsea? It wasn't even. I think it was a month ago, maybe just a month ago, whatever. But
beginning of November, yeah.
So the look, there have always been rumours that this kid is a bit of a donut, right? Is he just a bad? Is he maybe a bit of a dickhead, like a no dickhead policy thing, or is it a sign that there's zero respect from certain parts of our club, our team, towards our manager? And if so, how do you nip that in the bud? I'll start with you, Lubo. How do you nip that in the bud when you don't actually have any backup fullbacks that are fit right now? You know, apart from Ben Davies, like I don't know. I mean, where do we go from here with Jed Spence? Because he's a promising player, but I think he's overrated by many. So, yeah,
he's got. Firstly, he's being played in the wrong position. He should be our right back, not our left back. And it hinders the attack when he goes forward and he has to stop and cut back onto his right foot. I think it slows us down, and it's really counterproductive when we're attacking. He's got a serious attitude problem. I think he's got to give his head a wobble, come back down to earth, show a bit of humility, and start being a proper professional. Because he's been involved in too many of these incidents, and it's funny we talk about him throwing the shirt down. Well, I just can't think who was the player who threw his shirt down on the grounds, coming off in an FA Cup match, and he never played for Spurs again. I remember there was a lunchtime cup game.
Ndombele.
No.
It was in the FA Cup. Ndombele, remember? At home.
No, that's it. Hossan Ghali. Thanks, Hossan
Ghali. Ndombele slowly walked off the pitch. Sorry.
There's the name.
And Ghali never played another game again, and the fans went berserk because here he was taking the shot off and chucking it on the grounds. Spencer's lucky he didn't do that in front of the fans. He's very lucky they didn't see it.
Do you know, sport's an emotional game, right? And I remember Granit Xhaka threw his Arsenal shirt on the ground and everyone booed him and don't you ever play for the club again? And then he came back and did well. And if these things get forgotten quick, if the player comes back and puts in a good stint, I feel a bit sorry for Jed Spence, okay? He came to the club and Conte just said, he's not my signing, it's a club signing. I didn't want him. So he kind of got palmed off from day one. Then Ange had him. And the only reason Ange played him is because we were decimated in injuries. He had no choice but to play him. So he was almost forced to be played. But then he actually showed us that he's not too bad. So fans, they grew to him. He's been given a fair chance this season. He's done fairly well. Not any worse than any other player. I just feel on the weekend, I get his frustration. The team as a whole was absolute shit. Even the good players looked average. And the only two players on the pitch that looked to me like they were really trying was Moani and Spence. I thought they're the only two that genuinely looked like they were really trying. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean they played great or their passing was good or their decision-making was excellent. But from a crop of absolute dog shit, those two look like the most likely to be involved in a potential goal or a positive movement for Spurs. So to hook him off for a granddad defender, I'd feel like crap as well if the manager done that to me. A bit like when I said bringing on Johnson with 10 minutes to go, when it's 3-0, what's the point? You're making Johnson feel like he's an absolute joke in the club. So I actually sympathise with Spence with this to some degree. And I think
behind closed doors, mate. Behind closed doors. Behind closed doors.
It's emotion. In the moment, you're angry. You're pissed off that your team's losing as well. It's just, Frank, it's weird. Our players show quite a bit of emotion, whether it's constructive or not. Frank's quite an emotionless guy. He's a very sterile laboratory technician kind of character. And that's not going to... Whereas Ange, for example, he's quite a passionate guy. You know, he was arguing with the fans in the terraces. I think our players might show more passion than what the manager does. I think the managers are more controlled and measured in that sense, whereas our players, they show it. Whether it's right or wrong, I do sympathise with him a little bit.
Look, I think Jed Spence is another one of those players who has been put on a pedestal way too quickly. I think he's okay. He's all right. He doesn't blow me away, but he's erratic. He's another one of those that he has good games and he has bad games. He has games where he looks like he can't pass the ball to save his life, and he has games where he looks brilliant. I.e. Brentford, I thought he was excellent. And, you know, games before where he looks poor. But there's way too much of this in the game now. Like, everyone's showing such disrespect. And look, I agree with both of you. Yeah, football is a passionate game and things do happen in the moment. Our players seem to be doing this a lot at the moment. And that's what leads me to believe. That's a cracking free kick from Bruno Fernandes, by the way. 3-3. Sorry. I think that
should never have been given, by the way. It's a disgusting decision. By the
I saw. Yeah, I've just said it. Yeah. And look, I just feel like it's all happening out in the open. That's what leads me to believe something. I think there is something behind the scenes here, guys. I do. Spence, though, it's difficult, right? Depending on who you listen to, people will tell you that he's always had an attitude at Forest, and then there was a problem with him at Borough. One of the clubs, was it France or Italy, wherever he went, where apparently he had a bust up with the manager.
Rennes.
I don't know. Look, for me, I just don't think that players like that have done enough and are that indoctrinated that they can do this. I think you've got to earn the right to. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But has anyone noticed? I think he's fallen off a cliff since the England call-up. I felt like before the England call-up, I thought he was playing really well.
I think he's hot and cold, though, mate. I think he's had a couple of good games in the week as well. In the last 3 games, he's played pretty well.
I agree. Look, I think still, whoever said this will blow over, right? It absolutely will blow over. But look, we're seeing, Van der Ven and Spence.
Do you not think any part of it's not just Jed Spence, by the way? It's Mickey Van der Ven and Destiny Doggy also walking off the pitch when he asked them to stop and to clap the fans. There seems to be, I don't know, just a level of disrespect that is being thrown towards the manager, and I think that it's problematic.
I completely agree.
I think
You know
he needs
what?
to make
That's
an example of
behaviour from the players. That's unacceptable behaviour from the players. If you've got a problem with the manager, like we all called out Mo Salah, right? Everyone called out Mo Salah. Going, I can't believe what you did. You were wrong. You did it in public. I feel exactly the same with our players. For me, Spence and Van der Ven, when they done it, I get you pissed off.
Udogie did it as well. He just wasn't caught on camera, by the way, on that day.
Sure. So hang on. United are 4-3 up.
What was that about Iriola? Stel, you were saying?
Iriola's got this should be 1 win in 10, I think. By the way, anyway, yeah. Look, but for me, Sean, you keep these things behind. This isn't just football, right? This isn't just football. If we've all managed people, right? You've all worked for people as well. If you've got a problem with your manager, you don't do it like on the work floor. You can I have a word? And these people are doing it in the open, where they know that there's 60,000 video cameras on them. The news are going to pick it up. And I think it's really unprofessional. But it will blow over. They keep doing it, Sean. They keep coming out as well, don't they? We're sorry. We're sorry. Stop saying you're sorry. It's starting to not mean anything, right? Stop sending Vicario.
Comes across a little bit like schoolboyish, right? Like a child, who acts up and then apologizes to the parents or whatever, and then the next day does exactly the same thing, not learning, not doing better. I just think the energy around the football club and under Thomas Frank, like I say, for me, my question mark again, I'm not advocating his removal.
He did this last year. Romero did this to Ange last year. Do you remember Romero did this? He's our captain, right? In that scenario, remember when he stormed off at the end, everyone was clapping away at Wolves, and Romero stormed off, walked past the manager and went down the tunnel. The problem for me is Romero in these moments, he should be the one going over and go, oi, cut it out. Romero should be the one coming out after the games saying, did any of you see what Bruno Guimaraes did today? Bruno Guimaraes has come out and just gone, I'm absolutely embarrassed by mine and the team's performance. I'm absolutely embarrassed by it, right? I haven't heard Romero come out once. Like, whenever we lose a game. Yeah, but Romero's the captain. But
sorry every week.
Yeah, no, I know he has. But Romero, for me, surely we get this, right? Like, you want to hear from your captain. And Romero came out after we got the win against, the draw against Newcastle. Then when we lose, I'm like, okay, where are you? Let's hear you. Be the guy. Take the brunt. And I just think there's no leaders, Sean. There's no respect. There's no leaders. I think there's something really rotten going on.
Thomas Frank, Ellie hit the nail on the head. She said he hasn't stamped his authority. She's right. Thomas Frank has not stamped his authority. They teach you in coaching courses, establish your parameters, and then when the parameters are breached, you must enforce consequence. The parameters were breached 2-3 times this season. What's the consequence? None. We just continue business as usual. If the manager is that displeased or finds that disrespectful, he must make an example. As much as we might not think that he did right back then, it's proving to be right now. Amorim, he made players an example early doors. Don't do that here anymore. I'm here. So maybe now the rewards, the benefits of that.
He got the players to be able to do
that. He did that. But guys, he did that with Basuma with the Super Cup, didn't he? Basuma stepped out of line.
So he did it with Basuma, but not the rest. That's not establishing parameters.
But still, do you think
that's cherry picking? That could be seen as something else.
Exactly.
So do you think it's difficult though with Spence? Could you right now? Let's be brutally honest, right? I agree with you still 100%. Right? Right now, could he turn around in the next game against Liverpool and say to Jed Spence, "You've messed up. I'm benching you this game," when we've got no left backs in the football club? Like, I feel like we're in a real rock and a hard place.
We've got Ben Davies.
And imagine he starts Ben Davies versus
I'd respect
Liverpool.
it though. I'd respect it. I would respect it.
Sean, would you rather put Danso in and play Mickey at left back?
Yeah, fine. Exactly. I would respect it if Jed Spence thinks that he could just do what he wants and acts up every time he doesn't get his way and kick up. Sorry. Like if you don't nip it in the bud, it allows them to do it again and again and again.
And then all the players
you have to scold people. You have to at some point you have to toe the line.
That's true. That's
And if he
true,
came
so
out
I
and
didn't
said
even
it,
think
if
about
he came out and said it, the reason why Ben Davies in the team, not only has been a fantastic professional, he's a very, very good player. He's been here and he's been waiting patiently for his chance. But just so we're all entirely aware, the reason why Jess Ben's on the bench this game is because of his behaviour around the football club. It's unacceptable. It's not the first time, and he needs to have some more respect for the club, for the fans, and for his position in the team. Something like that. I don't know. Words to that effect. And then everyone knows. All right. And then hopefully Ben Davies will put in an absolute worldie. Or, as you said, Lubo, Mickey van der Ven at left back, whatever, right? Is it now 4-4, is it? What a game. What a game.
What do you say about Iriola? What a joke of a game. What absolute joke of a game.
It's a mess though, isn't it? And this was my point earlier, Sean. I know that all the conversation is going to be Frank out, but I think that did you see who was it? I don't normally like what this guy says, but did you see what Matt Law wrote today, Sean? Right?
Oh yeah,
Matt
Law. Yeah.
Matt Law wrote an article. It was actually really good. It's a good read, and he said Spurs have no identifiable culture. Until that is built and set, then constantly changing head coaches will barely scratch the surface of what needs fixing. Firing Frank won't put the club back into Tottenham Hotspur. And I think there's something to it. I think there's more. I don't think this is purely Frank.
I don't know why people like him get the credit for saying these things when we've been saying that stuff for months, if not years at times. You know, oh, Matt Lawson saying fucking brilliant today. He said that the players aren't good enough.
Only because
oh my god! Get out of it.
Only because it's very easy for YouTubers and people on TalkSport to just go, yeah, Frank out. But I think if we actually look at the bigger picture, he's right. There's no culture. I don't think that's going to change by just changing manager. I think there's some deep rooted shit at this club, and I feel like
look at our board right now. Just look at our board. We've got an investment banker that's come in. Okay, that's his head is purely financial, business, monetary. Then we've got Vinay, who is a gooner at heart. Right, he's got gooner blood in him. We've said, yeah, you come in. Then we've put Joe Lewis's kids. What credential do his children have in the football sphere to be now leading the charge for our football club? And it's what I said earlier. Just because they love Tottenham, so what? I love Porsche. Doesn't mean I know how to race them well. We do not have.
They don't need to know football, Stel. For me,
someone does. Somebody does.
Right, that's my point. I was about to say, any good leader, like if you look at how Richard Branson runs Virgin, right? What Richard Branson is absolutely brilliant at with all of his different brands is he goes, right, I want to start a mobile phone service. I want to start a banking. He's not an expert in those things. He goes and gets the best person and says, right, you're overseeing this for me, right? And he trusts them, gives them bang, I'll sign the checks, boom, you do what you need to do.
But you know what he does?
I'm worried, who is that guy? Because I think a lot was made about Paratici coming back. I'll be honest, Stel, I'm really 50-50 with Paratici because him and Lang in the last 5 years have built this squad. This is the squad Paratici and Lang have built. They're the ones that we're hoping get us back on track in transfer window. So I'm up and down with those.
This is why we need an Ajax type system at Spurs, where you bring players in who know the club, players who know football, and that's where you start, and that's how you start to build a culture of Tottenham players, Tottenham legends coming into a club who are knowledgeable, educated in football, understand the game, and understand the club and what the club stands for and what the club needs. And that's why you've got to have this Ajax type operation in.
These things won't work though with our current board of directors, right? Richard Branson, he'll start an airline, but he'll say to the people he employs, I want a fun, exciting, value for money airline that's going to compete with British Airways and knock them off their pedestal. He sets the goal and he sets the target. What goals and targets are our board setting our football people? I've said this so many times. Unless we know what we want to do, you can't then build it. Like if you were to say to the board, what do you want? Do you want to win the Premier League? How many do you want to win? Do you want to win the Champions League? What's the timeline? you don't know what they want. I don't know what they want. If you said to them, what do you want financially? You'll get answers like this. They'll just fire off the answers. Yeah, we want to make this much profit, this much turnover. This is where we want to expand the business. This is the future of the infrastructure and the contracts that we'd like to obtain. You get answers quick, but when it comes to the football, I don't think they know. I don't think they know how.
That's point number one. Point number one on my manifesto.
What is that? What is that?
Talks about the ambition of the club. I've got a 7-point manifesto. You know I have 7 point, and the first one is about ambition for this football club. It starts there. It starts there because if you've got to have ambition from owners, every other owner I know that runs a business has ambition to run a business to maximise this and potentialise the success of that business. No, we get bloody landed with the only fucking owners anywhere who are more interested in profit than football. 25 years. No wonder we have a
7-point manifesto, also known as pointing out the bloody obvious. Buy low, sell high.
You know what, Sean?
Try hard, give it your best.
People make life complicated. People make life complicated. And that's why Matt Law said there's no culture, there's no identity at our club because we haven't. Because we
should get you on Dragon's Den or something, mate, with your 7-point business.
I agree with Sav about Paratici. I don't think. I think the reason he gets so much credit at Spurs because he's better than what we've been used to for 6 years. So he gets this super excessive adulation, and we love him. But the reality is, he's above average. Isn't he? He's above average. He's not.
Look. Can I just say, Lube, I want to play devil's advocate on something you've just said there. What we do need to take into account, and I know this is shit for Spurs for fans to have to take this thing into account, is everything in every department did change at Tottenham Hotspur in the summer, didn't it? Like manager, coaches, CEO, board, directors of football, medical team, and the question is going to be, and I know Stell's always means that the question is going to be, right? Well, show us then, and I guess that's why I think, Sean, that's why I think there's more impetus on this January than any other January there's ever been, is because we're going, right, okay, Daniel Levy, the devil has gone, right, what are you going to give us? This is the new look ownership. We'll see, right? We'll see what has changed. I'm not expecting amazing changes. I'm not expecting changes to happen immediately in terms of we go, oh my God, wow. But what I do expect is a plan. I do expect that Thomas Frank and the scouts have been talking, and we have been talking to good players. Rumours coming out tonight that we're bidding for Barrios of Atletico. You know, people like, so, you know, look, I don't know. We'll see. We will see in January in the summer what they mean. And you know what? If they don't mean business, then I really don't give a shit. They go and hire David Pleat back. I don't care, right? But let's see. Let's see if they can deliver Lubo's 7-point plan.
I don't mind Barrios, mate.
All he has to do is pick the phone up. Listen, Vinay's got my email address. He's got my email address. He's got my mobile number. All he's got to do is ring me. You could do far worse because this club have fucked up in Starling for 25 years.
What's it called when you write down the I've got Operator's Manda, something like that. I've got the name of it.
What, a manifesto?
Opus. Oh, what's it?
Yeah, you're talking about MO.
Modus operandi.
Yeah. Lubo's going to write the modus operandi.
Honestly, Lubo, though, it's so like it's I don't know.
He's frozen again.
You're frozen again. You're frozen again, Sean.
Sean's got that Spursy Wi-Fi going on, isn't he?
I'm going to log out and cut back in. I'll come back in.
No, you're back. You're back now. We can see
you're back.
Barrios, though, Pablo Barrios, what a player he is. I mean, unbelievable player. Listen, if there's any truth to that,
this is definitely
playmaker.
This is definitely the sort of source that I will ignore, but Sean will make 20 quid out of a video for. So I'll send it over to you.
I'm literally on Canva. I'm on Canva right now getting a picture of him on my thumbnail.
Do you want me to send it to you? Do you want me to send you the link?
Yeah, send me the link. Yeah, fucking hell.
I'll send it to you. It says,
is it by Facials or somewhere? Where's it coming from?
Tell me which word in this sentence is the moment you thought this was a lie. Tottenham have submitted a bid of 70 million for Atletico Madrid midfielder Pablo Barrios. What do you reckon? 70 million? Do you think that was the
Submitted.
submitted? Yeah. Inquired. Yeah. Good player, by the way, but good player. That's the sort of player we need. But I mean, can we get players like that?
Hey, he's a baller. He's an exquisite playmaker. Love him. Super intelligent player as well. Be interesting. I don't for a second think we'll get him, but that's not going to stop me putting out a cheeky thumbnail, cheeky video before bedtime, boys and girls. Look out for that. Smash the like and subscribe.
By the way, Sean, can I just add very quickly? I got an email from the club late this afternoon about the Villa game. Tickets are £30 for the cup match.
Wow.
So
I've got an email as well about that. Yeah.
They had learnt after the debacle of losing 10,000 average per game, I think, for the 3 Champions League group stages. That's £30.
Yeah.
£30 for Villa. Yep.
What was FA Cup last year? Who did we get in the FA Cup? I know we lost to Villa, but who did we get before that in the round before? Was it? We played Tamworth, didn't we? Tamworth.
Yeah.
So we didn't actually play a home game in the FA Cup last season.
No,
but what a good game it was at Tamworth.
Oh, can you imagine?
God.
Hey, I've got to tell you, if that guy hadn't have scuffed that shot in the 96th minute, Ange would have been gone after that.
That was so funny. Wasn't their right winger? Didn't he work for Zara? Doesn't he like
something like that? Yeah.
Only Spurs, right? Oh God! Trust us to get Villa in the cup, the most informed team in the country. Like,
yeah.
Can I just can we just finish up, guys, just quickly? We didn't really cover the game, obviously, because there was no need to. We all know it was shit. But I think that there's a hell of a lot of conversation regarding Vicario versus. Oh shit! Have I gone again? I'm still there.
Gray.
Vicario versus Archie Gray, etc. I'm not really that focused on whose fault it was for that particular goal, but where do you guys stand on Vicario specifically? Are you guys like, oh, he's good enough to keep, or he's not a priority to replace? I saw a tweet on I saw a Twitter poll that had like 60% of people saying we need to replace him in January.
Can I go first, Sean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think he's a brilliant shot stopper. I think he's saved us so many times in the last 2 years. But if we're serious about becoming a team that can challenge for the league like we did under Poch and do really well in the Champions League, we need much better than him. We need someone that can distribute the ball far better, is much more competent with his feet, and is able to command his penalty box and scare the opposition, knowing that he controls the box and can't be bullied. So I think he's a good goalie, but we need better. Regarding the Nottingham Forest game, I want to say this. That first goal is 100% Archie Gray's fault. And I'll tell you why. Number one, if you look at the defenders, they split. I've done this as a coaching drill. They split as soon as Vicario got the ball. Gray came charging forward, dropped from the 6 into the centre-back row, and he called for it. He reached out and said, give me the ball. That was practiced. And what should happen is the ball goes to Gray, first touch, it goes out to the defender to Porro up the flanks. But what happened and why it went wrong is that Archie Gray, when he called for the ball, go watch the video, everyone, he didn't check his shoulder to see what's behind him. And then before he received it, he didn't check again. You teach 9-year-olds that. I don't know why he forgot. It happens. It's part of developing a young player. He'll never do that again, believe you me. He failed to check his shoulder, which is why it went wrong. And then he needed 2 touches instead of 1 to let off to Romero. People will then say, oh, but Vicario, you can see he's under pressure. Vicario shouldn't have given to it. If that's what you practice on the training ground, and that's the drill that the coach wants you to do in that scenario, either you do as you've been coached and what the manager has drilled, or you ignore the manager and say, no, I'm going to do it my way. I think Vicario did as he was told, and Archie Gray, unfortunately, in that moment, didn't do what he was supposed to do correctly, and he just fucked up. I would not blame Vicario for that whatsoever. The second goal, though, that's different. I think Vicario is at fault for that. But I just wanted to mention that Archie Gray was at fault for the first one, but that's part of youth development. If you're going to develop young players, you've got to facilitate them making mistakes, because failure is a stepping stone to success for young players, and that's the failure that we have to absorb as a fan base if we want to develop our youth. So don't go in on Archie Gray, but don't blame Vicario because it was Gray's fault. That's my take on it.
I take a slightly different view. I think Gray had no right to be calling for the ball, no right at all. It wasn't his ball to go and get. You're right, he didn't check who was behind him, and he should have laid it off first time. And that is all down to him. Yes, you're right, he's made a mistake. He won't make that mistake again. He'll learn from that.
I don't think he'll do it again. Yeah.
Interesting. On Savage Show, I asked Corey, who was down at Brighton as a kid, as a goalkeeper, and I said to him, "What did you think?" And he said that more Vicario than Gray. I've gone 50-50 on this. He said Vicario had the whole pitch in front of him. When he got the ball back from Romero, he could have quite easily given it back to Romero. He could have played Mickey van der Ven in straight away. He didn't. He messed about on the ball. He was getting closed down. Gray was coming in, and what Corey said was he had the whole pitch in front of him.
Jordan, he didn't get closed down. Lube, I've watched the video 4 times. He did not get closed down. Yeah, but what you're saying isn't true. He never got closed down.
The space was closing down, should I say. He should have just hit it.
What space? What space was closing down?
Well, Gray was close. Gray was about 5-6 yards away from him, wasn't it, when he got the ball? So the guy.
No. When he called the ball, he had space. But then, as he progressed to the ball, he didn't progress quick enough because he didn't check his shoulder.
But how many goals have we conceded with this messing about at the back? I can't stand
this specific moment. If you look at the position of the centre backs, the way they split, this was a pattern of play that we were trying to. This was a pattern. I know this is something they practice in the training ground. This was a pattern of play. It was just we fucked up on the first phase of play.
But still, when Romero plays the ball back to Vicario, he's taken the ball away from the guy that's closing him down. So Vicario's got time, he's got space. The guys then drop back, give it back to Romero, who's in space, and start again. Don't hold it and hold it and hold it, because while he's holding it, they're resetting and they're closing in with the press. And
nobody closed down though. Our centre backs were free. The reason it went to Gray is because the pattern is
give it to him still. Give the ball to either centre back.
The reason it went to Gray is because Gray brings the player out, which frees up that open space. So when it goes from Romero into Porro, now that midfield's vacant. That's why they do it that way. That's why Ant did the same thing. He used to play it to the player in the middle, then it comes back and across. It's a pattern of play. 9 times out of 10, it works. This happens. Do you know what? Even Frank said it in his press conference. He said, this happens all the time in football. We just got it wrong. He didn't blame Vicario. He said, look, Gray got it wrong. Even Frank said this. I heard what he said about the situation.
But if Gray stays further up, he'll get closed down further up. That'll give Romero more room. Don't come in and close the space and bring a Forest player onto your 18-yard box.
No, you do, but check that he's there. He didn't check that he was there. That's the point.
Well, listen, you're just closing down the space at the end of the day. Give it back to Romero. Let Romero pick Kudus out.
I don't believe that's what they practice.
I hate this way of football because if anything goes wrong, we're in serious shit. Because I agree with that. The centre backs are split. The centre backs are split.
I agree with you there.
There's no cover still, and the players one-on-one. It's very, very.
I agree. I don't think Spurs should be playing out from the back because we don't practice to play possession-based passing football. Frank doesn't teach us to be a possession-based team. So suddenly, just wanting to play out from the back. Just for part of the play. This is why our passing stats are in the mud. Our passing accuracy, our pass completions in the mud. We don't practice a passing game. That's not what Frank's trying to do. I don't know what he's trying to do, but it's definitely not possession football.
Can I come at it from a different angle? I don't really care which of them was at fault. Neither of them should be at Tottenham.
That's fair enough.
There you go. I think they're both shit. There you go. I've said it. I don't want to hear that he's young. Don't care. He should not be starting for Tottenham Hotspur. And Vicario, I've never rated him. I've seen people have tried their best to defend this guy for years and years and years. He is. I expect this level of goalkeeper for a team that's just been promoted. I just don't see anything in him that stands out at all. He is terrible at commanding his area. He's not good with his feet. And by the way, this is 2025, right? It can't just be It can't just be, goalkeepers have to be able to play with their feet now in some way, shape, or form. Look, I think if we want to be a bigger club, a better club, I'll say this, right? I looked at that 11 that played yesterday, and there was only 4 of them that started that game that I would keep at this football club. There you go. That tells you what I think of this squad. Vicario, I'm sure you all saw this yesterday. Tottenham goalkeeper Vicario has been at fault for 72% of Spurs' goals conceded this season. That's
a subjective thing, though, isn't it?
I didn't make the stat up. I
know, but whoever made the stat, is subjective.
I just think
it's the other way around. It's the other way around. It's the other way around. I think the figures are correct, but it's the other way around. I think he's at fault at 28%.
Oh, I reckon it's much more than that. I mean, every game I watch him, I shit myself when the ball goes in the box. I listen. We've had some really good goalkeepers over the years, and
we have.
Again, for me, and I'm sure Lubo, you'll agree with me on this one. You've had Kane, his replacement is Johnson and Solanke. You had Son, he's not been replaced. We had Lloris, his replacement is Vicario. You had Walker, his replacement was Aurier. Right? Yeah, I could go on and on and on. This is the problem. We've gone from really good players to every one of the players we've replaced them with is not good enough for me. And that is why I said at the start of the show, over the years, I think the squad has gone bump, 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 bump. And now we don't have, my brother said to me today, he said, you don't have game changers, do you? He said, always down the years when I've watched Spurs, you've had someone, you've had Son, you've had Kane, a Modric, a Bale, a Van der Vaart, a Ginola, a Sheringham. He went, now I look at your team and go, who's going to dig you out of a hole? Who's the guy that you go, don't worry, he's playing, he's going to, I just don't think it's there. And that's why I'm not as upset as other fans. I'm not expecting as much as other fans, because I think this is a really, really average football squad. But hey, that's just me. And that's that.
Let me just ask you this, guys. Quick question before we round off. We've got a couple of super chats as well. I'll do them right now, first and foremost. David Carrick. Sorry about my internet, by the way. I don't know if you can even hear me. My internet's all over the place. He says, lads, question for all of you. You've got £150 million in January. You've got 4 players. Who are you getting? My 4 are Nusa, Jonathan David, Anthony Robinson, and Locatelli.
For 150 million, you're getting those 4?
You're not going to get those 4 for... Never going to get them 4 for 150 million.
What's that? Sorry, lads.
Nusa's going to cost you 65.
150 million, Jan. You got 4 players. Who are you getting? My 4. Nusa, David, Robinson, Locatelli.
You're not going to get 2 of those for 150.
Well, Robinson's had a bad injury and hasn't played for God knows how many months.
Jonathan David struggling at Juve. Locatelli would be very good. Nusa would be very good. I'll take the first and the last of those. I would take Robinson if he was fit, but he's not fit, so you can't do that.
He's come back now, isn't he? He's back.
Just about, yeah. Great player. And Jonathan David, I'm not sure about Jonathan David. I think he'll frustrate the life out of people as well. He's good in patches, but not good enough. Big up to you though. Thank you, David. And Farid is saying Frank needs time and fans are delusional as anything. Look, I mean, possibly. I think we're all sort of stuck in a bit of a quandary with this one. I don't think anyone really knows what the right solution is. But here's one little last teaser for you, Lubo. This might get your juices flowing a little bit. If we could get, where'd that come from? How'd that come? What? How are these all coming back? The hell? I'm not even clicking anything. What's going on with my? Someone else is clicking on the link. Was that you, Stel? Was it? Were you doing that to wind me up?
No, Sean. Last week it was the shadow, and now it's this. There's something going on in that room, mate.
I thought you forgot the super stickers. I put it up. I thought you forgot it.
Oh, did I forget that one as well? Did I? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Big up to you, Adam. Thank you very much, my man. Appreciate you, buddy. I was like, what the hell's going on here? What's going on? Let me ask this as a little teaser. This, guys. If Thomas Frank stays until the end of the season, and then at the end of the season, at the end of the World Cup, Pochettino comes back, is there any chance, Lubo,
Oh God!
that a certain Harry Kane might come back to?
I knew that was coming.
Why?
Because he's mates with Poch.
Wouldn't
And
you judge
hang on.
Kane if you did?
Don't
No,
just
why
hang
let-
on,
why
don't
let
just
Ludo
stop
get
at, guys. Don't just stop at Kane. Bring Paul Mitchell back as well because he's out of work.
and Dele Alli and Lamella.
Yeah. Why stop
No,
there?
not
Let's go and
Lamella.
get Nico Cranshaw and Peter Crouch and bring back Harry Redknapp. I mean,
Yeah.
bring the whole gang. Can I just say, right, this whole Kane thing, I would have serious questions if Harry Kane at the end of this season, don't get me wrong, you'd want him, right? If Harry Kane at the end of this season went, yeah, I'm leaving to go back to Tottenham, my first question would be, why? Like, I take your hat off as a Spurs fan. Wouldn't that be your question? Like, why would you do that?
Sav, if he won the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or,
Yeah.
then you think to yourself, right, let's go back.
Fair enough. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
let's go and beat Shearer's record. And then he's won the lot, hasn't he? He's won the lot.
Yeah, sure. But are we doing this thing again? Are we just trying to recreate what we once had that was good because we've got no plan moving forward? Like all I hear is we need Kane back. We need Poch back. It's like, but in the same breath, we're all going, what's the plan? We have zero plan other than, oh, that was nice before. Let's go and get that. It was like
So the guys in the chat saying, why would he leave? We're dreaming. We're just fans having a laugh.
No, you're dreaming. You're dreaming.
Yeah, I'm not dreaming. I don't think he's coming back at all. I'm not dreaming about it.
Oh, I'd love him back.
Can I say, whilst we're talking about strikers, that is yet another Premier League game that Mwani hasn't scored. And Sean, the WhatsApp image, if you'd like to bring that up, please.
Oh my God! You and James Flower.
Can we see the WhatsApp clip, please? I want the WhatsApp clip where
You and
James
James Flower.
Flower calls him no goal
Colo.
Colo.
No goal.
Colo.
That's right.
Well, listen, he scored in 1 of 15 games. Stel, can I ask you? Sorry, I know if we're wrapping up, but Stel, can I ask you, right? Because I've had this debate. Look, I haven't really. I don't feel really strongly about it either way. But from what you've seen of Mwani, Stel, what you've seen so far, would you sign him on a permanent? From what you've seen so far,
I like him as a player, but not as a number 9. I think he's technically good. I think he dribbles well. I think he can assist more. But my only frustration with Mwani is that he seems to play intensively when others around him aren't intensive. If Simmons and Kudus and whether it's Odebert or whoever else we choose to play, up their intensity when Mwani does, I think you get a much more productive output from him. Like yesterday, for example, I thought he was genuinely trying. He was really trying to get it going, but the rest of the players around him kind of weren't.
In your mind, has he got that instinct that, you know, like I don't mean to this level, but you know, like when you watch,
he's not a number 9, Saba. He's not a number 9. He's not.
Their first thought is, let me get in a position where I can get a shot away.
He's not a number 9.
Mwani, for me, a lovely player. I think he's nice to watch, but like yesterday, I think summed it up for me still. You know, he was dribbling, he was running at their defense, and you're thinking, right, take a touch, get a shot out your feet. Like Defoe would have opened up his feet and bang. And he just did nothing and he dribbled into them. But then you saw the goal he got against PSG was brilliant. So it's like, it's in there, but I don't know if it's his first fault to score or if it's, I don't know. He's not
enough. This is why Sean and Johnny keep digging me up on it, because he's not a number 9. I stick by that. I don't. Do you know what? I don't even think he's a winger. He's like an inverted attacker. He's not a winger. He's an inverted attacker. You know what? It might be worth giving him a go in the number 10 role. You know, I do think it's worth giving him a go in number 10. He's not a goal. He's not. He shouldn't be. That's Saba. He's not a number 9 for me. That's one answer.
So would you buy him if it was 50 million right now? From what you've seen, would you buy him?
Only if there's no other decent alternative. Because I don't. He's better as an attacker in this team than some of our other options. So on that basis, reluctantly yes, but if we're going to be serious and look at players like Lookmans and Savios and Semenyo's and that, no, I wouldn't look at Mwani. No.
Just wondered.
All right. Guys, we'll leave it there. We're going for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I want to say a massive thank you. I don't know how long my internet's going to last in my exit before it cuts out. So I'm going to say thank you to everyone. Please get over to Football Heritage TV. Sava, thank you very much for coming in, stepping in for old Johnny Hollypops. You don't mind an old holiday, does Johnny? And Stel, thanks very much for coming on. Have I gone again? I'm still here. I don't know. Everything's freezing.
Yeah.
Big up to you, Stel. Thanks for coming on. And Lubo as well. Thank you very much as well, my man. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you for all the super chats. Please get over to the Spurs Corner. Please get over to Lubo_61 on Twitter. Please get over to Football Heritage TV. Please get over to Spurs 5. To Spurs Talk Show and to Football Inc. And we will see you all on Thursday when we'll do a proper preview of the next shit show inbound. Until then, Spurs 5 signing out. Appreciate everyone. Bye.
Bye.